What in the Emancipation Proclamation?
That's certainly a strange way
What?
to start this recording.
What
At least it's not as bad as Toad from episode 1. At least we don't have to
Wulfric.
mute. No, I don't want to have to put another sound warning in for everyone watching. That would be interesting. But yeah.
We've gone far away from Toad.
Oh, I've got a D&D one.
Oh no.
No, stop.
What in prestidigitation?
Well, I hope everyone is not clicked off the video by now, because I know I would have. But for the people who are still around, welcome back to Twisted Fates. And we've not kicked Ewan yet, which is surprising.
We'll see
Aha,
when
you
the
thought it'd be me
universe does
first.
it itself.
It's gonna be you.
Tune in next week to see who they find to replace me. Spoiler alert. No one's crazy enough to do this.
No one is crazy enough to replace you. No one is crazy enough to put up with us for as long as you do. But yeah, as always, I am your dungeon master, Emily, and we are, as always, joined by my boys. We've got Craig. We have Ewan, who we're not replacing, but I'm considering it.
Yet is the word to use.
Yet.
Yeah.
We have Matthew.
Hey.
And then we have Paul. Little Paul.
Hello.
Who's still with us.
Why
yeah.
have we not brought up? Why didn't you bring up the fact that Matthew's an egg now?
Well, people
Because
can...
the viewers can see the light reflecting off of his head.
My eyes!
I know, it's like, at least between the last couple of episodes, me going from red to, like, purple wasn't that much of a change. I feel like this is quite a standoutish change.
People will see it when the solar planetary body goes past them, and they'll no longer be able to see.
But, you know, other than egg, we don't really have much news for you this week. And again, same format as always when we come to these wee introductions. I'm going to give you all just a wee recap of what happened last time, and then we're just going to jump straight into today, where we'll deal with a little bits and bobs, and then we get to do Wulfric Tournament Arc, which could be really over really quickly. And then
Wulfric loses round 1 and it's just sad.
he just has to sit on the sidelines and watch the rest of the tournament arc and doesn't get to participate.
No, at that point, when Wulfric leaves, if Wulfric like loses, we just leave. Like that's it, done.
What have I become?
I'm Curry.
But yeah, last time we kind of had more of a story-focused session, kind of exploring the boys' backstories as they made kind of their last stretch of their journey to the Citadel. It's not to say that it wasn't an uneventful or even an eventful journey. There was kind of a mixture of key events and kind of a bit more downtime for them. But I'm not going to go into too much for the individual characters and what happened for them and the kind of information they discovered on their journeys to the Citadel, because I don't feel like I'd do it a lot of justice. So if you want to find out a little bit more about that part of the session, I'd advise go watch it, because quite a lot did happen, especially between Eidolon and Ranaagash. A lot of stuff happened between those boys. But when the party did eventually arrive in the Citadel, the excitement of the city hit them immediately, and in the busy crowds they got hit by somewhat of a serial pickpocket who stole the infamous black leaves from Eidolon and ran into the crowds. They were able to catch the boy and retrieve the items, and in doing so were also able to meet with the Master of Arms, a orc named Sorrow, who was able to offer Wulfric some additional information regarding the Iron Dragons, as well as give the party directions on where they could stay for free in a small hostel run by a very old elf named Honeydew and a candle shop.
It was nice.
She is quite nice.
Oh, it's a candle shop because it's honeydew, it's bees.
She owns beeswax and she's a candle maker.
That didn't click with
As you can see, Paul's wisdom is not comparable to Markusar's. But Paul still hasn't killed a man.
Yeah, I know, it's like differences between the characters. Markusar's more wise and has killed a man. Paul is less wise, but to my knowledge hasn't killed a man.
Can't say for certain.
legal reasons, we're gonna say no.
But no, they kind of got together and they did a little bit of exploring of the Citadel, where Eidolon did be able to find his man, He found the guy he was looking for, though the guy was, I suppose, less than useless and less than reassuring, as Captain Daedalus sent the man back to the wall for,
Bring on the wall.
possible death, or a fate worse than death.
I've recommended the second one.
Yeah, that is true. You did recommend a fate worse than death. Markusar was unable to find exactly what he was looking for during their time wandering around the Citadel, but he did be able to find some leads to where to maybe find the information. One of the priests informing him that the Master of Magic, a man called Varian Pendragon, would perhaps be able to help him. And Ran vibed. As Ran does. Although, to be fair...
Thank you very much, Mr. Adele.
To be fair, given the amount I tortured Matthew at the first section of that session, I felt that Ran just vibing was quite a relaxing session for Matthew. But yeah, that's kind of where we left off, with the party staying in the Citadel for, I suppose, their first night, waiting on the tournament that was to be held in the festival known as the Celebration of the Six, a tournament which Sorrow had asked Ewan, or Wulfric should I say, if he would participate in, which obviously Wulfric accepted.
You can do it, Dad.
So we'll get to kind of see
Watch an old man
the
get shit rocked.
yeah, we'll get to see the outcome of that, which could be quite interesting to say the least.
I can't wait to watch it.
But before we're getting into the big part of the session, before we get into the first full day the boys have in the Citadel, and before we get to the tournament, the four of you have a little bit of time. Whilst you're waking up in Honeydews to the sound of her buzzing bees. Sorry, Craig.
That's just me, that's not even my character.
I
I
know.
just fucking hate bees.
Craig doesn't like bees. You have a little bit of time to discuss, I guess, your plans for that morning, your plans for that kind of day before the tournament. Kind of getting... Go for you.
Wulfric would have been the first awake. He's doing some doing some push-ups.
He's prepping himself.
Do some crunches, getting strong.
What about the other three of you? What are you kind of doing that morning as you kind of get up and see Wulfric prepping himself, making sure all of his equipment's polished and shiny, making sure he's tip-top condition, fed, watered, exercised?
I'll wait until Ranaagash and Markusar have said what they want to do, because I have something to ask the two of them before the tournament.
Cool.
I think Markusar would just be, maybe enjoying some breakfast. I don't know, maybe some like honeyed toast. We are in like a sort of like bee farm.
Bees! The bees!
There's nothing to be afraid of.
Oh no, here we go again. It was my fault for introducing them to an apiary.
I wish she'll never have been born.
Yeah, you'll be telling me buzz off by the end of this.
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
I have the power to. It's tempting.
Just everybody watches Wulfric get fucking decapitated. in the middle
A
of
round
the
of
arena.
applause.
But yeah, kind of discussing words. Kind of discuss what you guys want to do that morning, or whether you just kind of want to head to the old town for the tournament.
What's Ran doing? Before I ask those two.
Straight vibing, my man.
I'm gonna have a high protein breakfast. Some oats.
I guess in that case, unshackle myself from the bedpost and go over to Markusar and Ranaagash.
Good morning, friend.
Sorry, need to get into the voice. Morning. I'm gonna be heading up to the Master of Arms today. I'm gonna ask if I can potentially have a seat next to him. Would you two like the same?
Depend. When's the tournament that Wulfric's will be gallantly participating in?
So it's being held probably just after noon. It kind of gives, I suppose, yourself a little bit of time, Markusar, if you did want to peruse the Masters of Magic before the event. Catch him before, obviously, the tournament gets underway.
I believe I shall be visiting the Masters of Magic before the tournament.
It's more I can ask him to reserve you a place near there, in case you want to come and, well, sit and watch.
Yeah, sounds quite enjoyable.
Ranaagash.
Yeah, sure.
Wulfric has it in him to hold himself against in this tournament.
Keep the
It's
band
more
of
so that in a
all
world
right.
we're not stuck standing watching it.
Oh, you don't want to be stuck in the commoner seats to want the executive box.
It's more the amount of commoners that I expect.
Oh yeah.
You're wanting a piece away from it, are you? Wulfric's just coming down and just caught the end of that.
He's drying himself off with a towel, you know.
Oh. Something like that, yeah. I at least want to watch if you get the shit kicked out of you.
I would. You think I'm gonna get a shit kicked out of me? Even in defeat, I am noble. Not that I plan to lose this.
No, and if things go my way, I'll be losing some money if you lose it, so don't exactly disappoint.
Is there a bookies in town?
I don't know, but if there is, I'll find one.
As you all kind of leave that morning, I imagine Wulfric and Eidolon, you're heading to the Old Town, obviously heading to where the tournament is being held.
Tournament dark.
Markusar, you're heading to the Masters of Magic in the New Town, yes?
Yes, I am.
And Ran, where are you going?
Good question. I don't know. Can I tag along with Eidolon? I don't really have many plans.
Cool.
Yeah, you can come along. I'm heading to the
Oh
Old
yeah,
Town.
Wulfric has now ensured the beard is properly maintained,
Oh, yeah.
properly trimmed. It does properly look Henry Cavill in Mission Impossible now.
It needs to be on point, because if he wins this, he needs to look good doing it, you know?
And if he loses, he still needs to look good.
Yeah,
he
he-
needs to look better than the person who beat him.
He needs to look good in his loss. So
It's like the Spartans, they would cut their hair and stuff
Yeah.
before the battle.
they have to look their best in combat, because if they die, they need to look their best, but if they win, they also need to look their best.
It's a win-win.
As my party splits and shakes the balance as it's not an even split. What have you done, Matthew?
Bye, Mark. Sorry, we don't hate you this time. We're just going another way.
I will see you at the tournament.
I'd give you a backhand wave.
As the three of you, or the four, sorry, Mark, sorry, I keep forgetting that you're actually part of the group. The four of you split, the three of you heading to the Old Town, and Marcus are going on his own to the New Town, to the libraries of the Masters of Magic. As you kind of start moving through the crowds, Markusar, it's quite difficult to at least keep a steady pace as you're kind of moving against the crowds. You're moving against the tide, as a lot of them are obviously moving towards the Old Town to get the best seats, to get the best standing positions, to find the best locations to obviously watch the festivities. A lot of the locals and a lot of the travellers are all kind of almost funneling into the Old Town through the western walls to participate in the celebrations. However, when you actually break through the kind of, I guess, the centre gates between the western walls and the New Town, it's a lot more easier. It's a lot easier to navigate the New Town than it is to navigate the western walls. A lot of the New Town is still being built. A lot of it is still repurposed fields and farmlands that is slowly turning into the more city style. Closer to the western walls is where it's a lot more built up, whereas the further you get to the edge of the outer walls, it turns into more rolling fields and forest land, where in a small section of the forested area, cropping over the trees, you can see a relatively shambled and cobbled together tower that seems to be resting upon another domed building that, well, it doesn't take a genius to know that wizards are probably in that tower. As you head along.
I guess I would approach the building, knock on whatever door there was.
It's not so much a door at this point in time as it is an archway, as even a lot of the sorcerers and wizards, a lot of the scholars within this building are leaving also to join the festivities. As you more kind of shamble into the establishment, kind of shuffling past several of the people who are already leaving it, where as you're kind of more looking around, I guess, for someone, what kind of person, I guess, would you look for?
Well, I've been given the name
Yes.
Varian Pendragon. I don't have a description of him, but I guess I'm looking for some great scholarly looking guy, guessing old. But failing that, I guess I'm looking for just like would a place like this have some sort of like quote unquote receptionist?
Not really.
I would like meet the manager, please.
Can I speak to the manager? No, not really. They don't really have a front desk or a reception. It seems to be a lot of the scholars have their own workplace. Though you can see, I guess, a few gentlemen that I guess match your descriptions. Though I suppose the person that I was trying to wonder out the people, but that's not a singular. The person that does eventually approach you, I suppose to your eye looks like perhaps a student. He is maybe only kind of 12, 13 years old. He still looks quite young. He in the kind of more, I guess, basic linens that you'd expect more of a traditional wizard to wear, kind of having short, dark, shaggy hair, and again, kind of matching dark eyes, as he kind of more looks at you ambling around, trying to almost find someone or something. What can I do for you?
Hello, child. I am looking for a Varian Pendragon.
Why is that?
I have some questions I would like to ask him.
Well, he's around here somewhere.
Could you direct me towards him?
Not really.
Does he have an office or a usual haunt within this halls?
No. I mean, he usually spends a lot of time in the library, but...
Then I suppose I will go to the library first. Failing that, I shall go to his office. If you do see him, tell him I am looking for him.
I will do. Don't worry, I'll make sure he knows. As you kind of wander off, or start to wander off towards the kind of bookshelves in the libraries, and you just hear this small child, again, kind of almost talking to himself. Yeah, there's a dragonborn looking for you. Yeah, I know. We'll see how long it takes him to work it out, though.
And I hear all this.
Yep. He's doing it so you can hear him.
So I turn back and, like... Sorry, it sounded like you were speaking to Varian Pendragon. Is he here?
Yeah. You asked me to let you know, or let him know if you were here, so I let him know.
And how did you do that?
I talked to myself.
So you were Varian Pendragon.
Yes.
Out of character, I'm annoyed at this.
Paul's annoyed. Paul's mad.
Is there any chance I could ask you some questions?
Yes. Though I do have to get to the celebrations, at least in a little bit.
I will try not to take most of your time. I seek knowledge about an artifact.
Do you know its name?
The name I was told was the Dream Store.
I know a little bit about it, though it's not an artifact that's very well known. That's something that you'll find even in the books here. The descriptions of it constantly change. It's a strange artifact from what I remember reading. It was given its name because it was a door that was sighted in a man's dreams. We wizards and scholars are incredibly inventive when it comes to naming things. The man who wrote the first, or I suppose the elf who wrote the first sightings of it, the one who was said to first have the dreams of such an artifact, of such a door, was a man called Reuven Thetoris. He was, I guess, active nearly a century ago. He was somewhat prophetic, at least in a lot of his abilities and a lot of his writings as well. Makes them a nightmare to work around.
So, people have only known of this through their dreams. No one's actually seen it?
Well, the Thetoris, he was the only one to have actually seen it. He wrote about it in a lot of his scriptures. A lot of his studies, a lot of his research went into, I guess, working out what it was. I see you are a druid. He was the one who created the druidic faith. He established the old faith, based on a lot of the, I guess, interpretations he had of the Dream Store. But since then, no one was very I guess no one was able to see it, no one was able to find it, no one was able to describe it, so the descriptions of it changed throughout the years. He was, what I've read, was a strange man. I never met him though. Age and all, it kind of gets in the way sometimes.
Was there any of the possible locations? Was there any that seemed concrete?
Not, at least in my readings, there's nothing in my books. If you're looking for a bit more information on it, your best bet would be going to probably the Lord in Summerhost. It was said that Theodoros established the Golden Sun there when the Old Faith was first established. He was advisor to the first lords of Summerhost. It's why Summerhost was made so close to the forest of Halden. He wanted to establish a settlement close to the faith. From my readings and research, it seemed Theodoros had an apprentice at some points. I imagine if you went there, perhaps the Lord would allow you into his readings and writings.
Curious.
The man was quite secretive, at least in a lot of the stuff he wrote about. It makes trying to decipher a lot of his theories and a lot of his hypothesis almost impossible. I've not actually been able to get to Summerhost to get my hands on his research, so I've not actually been able to read it. Hence, I can give you directions, I can tell you a little bit about the man, but I myself can't really tell you much.
Thankfully, I'm from Summerhost, so hopefully I might be able to gain my own answers.
I would assume so, but yes, I guess it's an artifact a lot of people go into study and, well, they give up pretty quickly.
Is there any telling what it actually does?
Not really. It was said to, or at least in his dreams, was said to reset the world. He saw it be birthed anew from the door.
Okay. I thank you for this information. Is there anything else I must know? Anything that I might find here that I can make use of?
Not unless you want to troll through the books.
I sadly have a tournament to go to.
As do I.
I have a man who's fighting.
As do I.
Who are you supporting?
One of my own champions. It is the celebration of the Six after all, we all must put forward one of our own champions.
And who's your champion?
One of my students.
My friend Wulfric, he's been asked to participate in the tournament on behalf of the... What's he called? Is it the Captain of the Guard?
Master of Arms.
Master... my friend Wulfric, he's been asked to participate on behalf of Sorrow, the Master of Arms.
Most likely to try and outdo my champion.
Well, may both our fighters have good luck.
It will certainly be entertaining. Sorrow has not won in at least 3 years, so...
Ewan, he's literally putting all his money on you.
Yeah.
The only year I ever lost the tournament was the year I first became Master of Magic. Every other year since then I've won.
Let's hope good fortune comes to us both.
Indeed. Would you care to join me?
I suppose, if I have nothing else here, I shall follow you to the tournament.
It's more you're welcome to peruse the libraries, they are open to the public, but if you're also invested in the tournament, and I seem to be more so now that I know that I might have some actual competition this year, perhaps we could head together.
I think I've gained all I can here. Seems like my summer host, so let's go to the tournament.
As you leave the libraries with Varian, who is about half the size of you, in terms of his height.
Yeah. He's a small boy with big dark hair, whatever.
Yeah.
So, human, or is he
No,
like
he's
a
human.
gnome or something? Or?
Nope, he's human. He is a 12-year-old.
He's just 13.
He's just a 13-year-old boy. As we jump to my three boys, who are heading into the old town, where as you arrive in, you can see all the tents are set up in a variety of different colours. You can see that the stones have been covered with sand, and everything is being set up with the stands and boxes for both the guildmasters, for the dynast, and for, I guess, travellers and locals who have perhaps paid a little bit more to get a better view of the event. However, as you kind of come in, come through the gates, and as the crowds start to part, you are met by Sorrow, who has quite a big grin on his face. He looks quite chuffed with himself. He looks quite happy. He's not adorned in armour. He looks slightly uncomfortable at that fact. He's in more noble attire for today, though he still has fuck-off sword in his back. It just looks a little bit more janky considering he's now in vest and trews instead of full plate armour. Wulfric, you ready for today?
Aye.
I have high hopes. I put a lot of money on this. Both for and against you, understand. I can't,
Man's gotta make money somehow.
I gotta take my chances both ways, and well, it's been a while since I last won, so I can take you over to the tent though. You'll have your own personal squire for today, and I don't know what you usually ride, but I picked out one of my larger mounts. I hope you're not too skittish around horses.
No.
As he kind of more takes the three of you and leads you through this collection of tents to a more kind of dark green coloured one that bears a axe and a sword crossed and emblazoned upon the front of it. Heading in, it is quite a luxurious tent. You have an area where you can sit and relax after the events, Ewan. You have a array of weaponry that you can choose. If you wanted to kind of switch out from your own weaponry, you can see a squire kind of sitting and kind of almost running around, polishing certain bits and pieces, tending to the horse, which you can just see through the folds of the flap in the tent on the other side. A very, very big, black, almost stallion. Looks like a good, strong horse. Looks like it could be a little bit feisty, but probably better than not. As Sorrow kind of leads you through the tent. This is, I guess, to be used at your disposal today, Wulfric. You can use as many of the weapons as you want. You can use the squire if you need your armour polished, if you need your weapons sharpened, if you need the horse tended to, or even yourself. He is one of the, I guess, better boys in the barracks, so you can trust him with your gear. I trust him with mine. But the parade will be occurring shortly, and then after that you'll have the joust. Then it's hand to hand. If you manage to pass the joust, that is.
Right.
How is Wulfric's animal handling, Ewan?
He doesn't need to worry about it. He's proficient in land vehicles, and a horse is a land
vehicle.
A horse is a miracle!
Yeah, that's one of the things I always find really bizarre is land vehicles, carriages, and horses. That's their classifications. So yeah, he's technically proficient in horse.
I am proficient in horse.
But as you're kind of, I guess, standing, kind of more waiting in the tent, Sorrow kind of comes up to you, Eidolon, and just as Ewan's kind of getting himself sorted, the squire kind of comes to tend to your armour, Wulfric. Sorrow kind of comes over and almost takes you to the side just a little bit. Do you mind if we have a word?
I was, in no serious sense, wanting to have a conversation with you myself.
I would probably advise you go first. I imagine mines might have a little bit more of a pressing matter to it.
No, he'd more just give a simple nod and just say, well, considering what happened yesterday and the fact that at least myself and most likely Wulfric too will be leaving the Citadel rather soon, I was going to ask if during this tournament, during this celebration, myself and, if possible, two of my comrades could be sat next to you. If any news came in, I'd want to be made aware of it.
That is no issue at all. We don't really have a private box for the six, really.
Oh, I didn't mean a private area, more just so that I was next to you if any information were to come in.
That is fair. But no, you are welcome to join me. Though I don't know if much, if any, news will arrive.
It's only if it does, not a when it does.
I guess it is more because of, well, what I need to discuss with you.
Very concerned glance at the orc.
I can only offer my apologies.
Explain.
Your man escaped our custody. However, I guess this is one, a question, and two, a recount of the events from my own men. He escaped not long after you left the barracks.
How incompetent are your men?
Let me finish.
I will. I just need to know if the Citadel even has decent security.
And I need to know if you're not telling me something. As he left, his bars were eroded and he killed 9 of my men!
Well, that's certainly new.
As, obviously, Wulfric and Ran, you will hear Sorrow screaming at Eidolon. Explain
Then what
that,
happened beforehand?
Captain.
No, explain what happened beforehand. Who else was in the prison? Or who else got into the prison whilst he was there?
No one else other than my men. Everyone who was with that man that day is dead.
As Eidolon would more begin pacing part of the tent.
Now, watchman or not, Captain, explain.
See, I would explain, but I lack an explanation for this.
I know you do, but he doesn't know that.
He doesn't know that, and I don't know if he'll take that as an answer. Though, actually, I'm not lying, so there's no point in not saying it. As I'd more pace for a second, just before stopping before him. More just giving a half disappointed, but more concerned look at him. There is none. Whatever happened was an external, not internal source. The only way that I could actually know what happened if I was down there at the cell myself, I would need to know the cause, I would need to know the purpose, and I could surmise that if I could see the cell.
He kind of takes a deep breath, more ready, like steadies himself. You can kind of see him almost composing himself as he almost tries to flush out his own anger. As he kind of smiles, you can kind of see his broken tusks just kind of more cropping up. After the tournament, then.
After, indeed.
I cannot
Unless there's time to
leave.
do so now.
No.
However, if you pointed me in the direction, I could.
If you do not mind, I would wish to attend with you. I myself need an explanation in this matter.
And I could provide you one if I could go now. I understand your perspective on this. However, much like yourself, I do not appreciate a raised tone on a matter such as this. If I could deal with this discreetly whilst everybody else is dealing with a tournament, it would not draw increased attention to whatever this matter is.
Very well. Wulfric, I wish you luck for today.
Thank you.
I would turn to Ranaagash. Ranaagash, I hope you don't mind missing out on a tournament.
No, what are we doing?
Good, you're coming with me.
Right.
Sorrow, directions.
Head out the tents, past the sands, down the barracks. You'll find a set of stairs in the main entrance, head down 2 flights. He was the 3rd cell, though that's not really information you'll require, as when you get down there you'll see what I mean.
I'll outstretch a hand for just a simple handshake.
He will give you it, though you can kind of almost feel his internal frustrations being withheld.
I wish you a pleasant day.
He gives you a nod, though says nothing else.
Yep.
As you and Ran exit, and Wulfric is being pampered for the first time in God knows how long.
Look at you getting pleasant treatment whilst I have a criminal case to deal with.
I put my axe in one of the stands. I take a shield, and I pick up a lance, and I weigh it.
These are very, very nice weapons. Like, these are high quality stuff. They're not like, most of them are blunted to a degree. They are more like sparring weapons, but they're really, really nice weaponry. If you could sharpen these would make some nice weapons for the road.
I'll use this, kind of spin it in one hand.
As Eidolon and Ranaagash. You guys exit the tent, start following Sora's directions, where you can see a lot of the tents are still being set up. A lot of the champions are just arriving. Their horses are being tended to, and the locals are already, or the peasantry and kind of people who are watching are already kind of started their whisperings and their bets. You can even see some coin being passed around between friends, foes, families, everyone.
As there is ambient noise and would likely drown out any form of conversation, I would talk to Ranaagash as we're walking. My apologies for drawing you away from pleasantries. I don't exactly want to deal with something like this when, well, the easiest way to put it is dealing with this alone might easily be a death sentence. And out of this entire group, well, I more refer to the four of us, you're the only one who could actually assist on this.
Something interesting we're dealing with then, huh?
More the fact that you can create fire.
Ah, yes, that one.
Yes, hot hands.
Spicy hands. As for Ranaagash, I need you to make me a perception check. Eidolon, you don't, because your new passive covers that.
I am the god of perception.
As a little side note, as Matthew's rolling, the boys leveled up at the end of last session. So, Eidolon now has a passive perception of 17. That's not bad.
He sees all.
I mean, for a -1 wisdom, that's actually pretty good.
That's actually really good considering you have a -1 to your wisdom. So as you're kind of making your last leg before you kind of would break away and head towards the barracks, you can see the last little bit of preparation is being set up on stage, where you can see quite an ornate box, likely filled with the prize money or the winner's coin, being set up on a pedestal. You can also see a servant kind of draping an amulet over the box. It is bearing the diamond of the citadel, so it's quite likely like a gift from the dynast to whoever wins, as an emblem of their triumph.
That's pretty neat.
But along with this, Eidolon, you will see this. Ran, you'll kind of more see the servant linger. You won't really see what he's doing. Eidolon, you will see what he is doing. You'll notice that from the sleeves of a relatively heavy cloak and a relatively heavy garb, tendrils seem to crawl like insects from his sleeves and wrap around the gemstone, wrap around the emblazoned symbol of the dynast, and turn it black for a few seconds before it returns to a brilliant red colour.
Can I size up the person who's doing this? Can I see their face?
You can't see his face, but if you want, you can give me more of an active perception check to see if you can see anything else about him.
I'm gonna try. I just can't get peace wherever I fucking go.
No, you can't.
That's a nat one.
No, you don't. You don't see anything else about this figure other than these tendrils, these black wisps wrapping around the gemstone and then fading. However, once he is finished lingering, once he kind of almost hovers over the pedestal, over the items for, I guess, a strange amount of time, he disappears through the curtains behind the stands and away from the crowds and into the streets. What do you do?
Ran, you visibly watch Eidolon stop and let out a massive, extremely tired-sounding sigh.
Alright then. More trouble?
I don't suppose you saw that.
I saw him if he was doing something, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he was, something is a way to put it. As Eidolon's frustration is slowly starting to seep into his tone. We're going to investigate this cell. We're going to head back to this tent, and we are going to have a pleasant afternoon. As he makes his way down the stairs. Or wherever we are.
So you're not following the guy?
Well, he's up on the stage, so whatever I do, it makes it look like I'm trying to jump up onto the stage to do something. And
no,
that's not a good...
Like he's gone through the curtains and he's gone off into the crowds. He's back in the streets. You have a choice.
I don't like having choices.
It's a choice-based game!
Ah.
you want, I can be more railroady.
No, this is fine. Ranaagash,
Mm-hmm.
would you mind heading down to the cell that the Master of Arms directed us towards?
Yes. What are you
Just-
planning?
If you can see anything down there, primarily, he wave his hands in the air. Magic. Anything that strikes in that sense. Just find me after, it won't be too difficult. If anything, head back to Wulfric's tent.
I'm concerned for what you're about to do, but I don't suppose I have any way of stopping
I
you.
am also concerned for what I am about to do.
Just don't get yourself killed, would you?
I can't promise that, as he turn around and head through the crowds.
Does Ran obey or does he follow Eidolon? He ain't no soldier.
Aha, now you've got the choice, Matthew.
He's no soldier, but at the same time, Eidolon's going to be disappointed in him if I don't go and find out what happened.
Aww, does Ran not want Eidolon to be disappointed in him?
Well, I remember well, maybe not disappointed, more angry, and I remember what happened the last time Eidolon was angry at me.
You don't want that to happen again.
No.
I don't want angry Eidolon.
No. I'll go down.
Wulfric, you've gotten this easy today. I thought this was Wulfric's time.
Wulfric's having a nice time. I'm giving Wulfric a pamper session where nice things happen to him, and then he possibly gets his
Well,
ass
you're gonna
handed
murder
to
him next session.
Maybe. You don't know what I've got planned.
That's a threat.
As we will jump to Ran first, heading into the barracks and towards the cell blocks. True to Sorrow's word, the directions through the barracks are pretty easy to follow, and once you get down the flights of stairs to the cell block, again, like he said, it's the third cell along, but you probably could have seen that anyway and just made the assumption. As you're walking down the stairs, the smell is what hits you first, though the sight is very quick to follow, as it smells very damp, but kind of smells like it's burning. Not like fire on wood, more like, I guess, fire on flesh. That kind of singed smell, where it almost smells like it's still bubbling. Whereas when you get to the bottom of the stairs, erupting from the second cell block, is, I guess, quite a lot of almost splashes of black ichor that still seems to be dissolving the stone. You can see the bodies of, I guess, 9 men, though you're not too sure, as some of them have almost become welded together, kind of strewn around the room. Weapons in hands, they were ready to fight whatever this was, whatever happened here. They weren't caught off guard, they were very much, I guess, ready. But even then it didn't look like they stood a chance. These weren't like, I guess, men in standard garb either. Most of the men who are down here, most of these bodies, are in full plate. These are heavy armoured men. They were ready for a fight, and it looks like whatever this was just almost swept over them with ease. Can you give me a investigation? Just as you're kind of investigating the scene with a little bit more of a keen eye.
What's that? That's a 5, okay. Hey,
21?
I'm good at something.
Well, yeah, perception, no. Intelligence, yay! As you kind of get closer to the scene, closer to the cell, being very careful to avoid at least touching the bodies or at least touching any of the ichor, you, I guess, only find something a little bit strange. It's an older building. A lot of the buildings in the Citadel are relatively old. You can see that the lot of the cell is probably built underground, though there is small windows cut into the top where it looks out onto the street just at eye level, where there obviously are bars, old-fashioned iron grates, but that's not what strikes you as a bit weird, as maybe 3 or 4 bricks to the left of it, very, I guess, strategically, the brick has been moved. It's about that, I guess, in its width, by like maybe 7-8 inches tall. It's not a small brick. It's quite a sizable brick, but it's protruding from the wall, almost as if someone removed it and then put it back. And from it, if you poke it, do you poke it?
I'm gonna poke it.
As you poke it, from the base of it, so obviously the bottom of it, more of this black ichor seems to almost, I guess, ooze from it and stream down the wall and start bubbling against the stone.
Oh boy.
In the cell you can find traces of the ichor as well, though I guess less so. But the thing that strikes you about odd, I guess, in the cell floor and where a lot of the ichor remains is there's obviously the eruption at the door where the bars and I suppose door have almost just been completely dissolved and blown off. There is one set of footprints. You can kind of see them scuffing into the straw and sand that are not too unlike your own now walking into this cell block. However, there is also a second set of footprints. Odd thing about this set of footprints is the 2 feet aren't the same. The more left-hand shoe is...
The left foot.
Left, yeah. Well, it's a shoe. It's not a foot. You can see the outside of a boot. It is quite large, but it is very much a boot print, and quite a heavy boot print at that. The right-hand foot, however, has claws. Very large claws, almost canine-esque, though it is still very humanoid in its foot, as it has, rather than obviously like pads, it has the elongated heel, and then the claws at the top. Surrounded by more of this black ichor.
Okay.
Nothing else really seems to be here, though.
Okay. 2 questions then. One, does the ichor look similar to Eidolon's freaky tentacle stuff?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Second question, does it look similar to the weird ichor in that vision I had last time?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh no. It's all coming together.
Oh yeah. It's all coming together.
More like it's all falling apart.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Let me just take note of this.
The fear is palpable.
But there seems to be nothing else in the cell.
So
At least that's of note. There's a few dead mice, but that's nothing usually of note. Rodents die all the time. Or at least it doesn't strike you as being weird.
Did you say it a second thing, Matthew?
There were the 2 things. The
That
2
was worth it.
comparisons I had.
Is it like Eidolon's tendrils? Yes. Though this looks, I guess, a lot more, physical. Eidolon tends to have a lot of spooky tendrils, but they don't leave a lot of residual energy behind. They just seem to be contained in him. This seems very external. And then spooky ichor from Dream, a lot closer to that. Because you saw that almost infect the forest. You saw that rain down on the encampment. It seems a little bit less, violent in a lot of it, the way that it's eating out the stonework. But you reckon that's probably because it's been here for a little bit of time.
I think that's... I feel like if I could make those comparisons, there's no real point in trying much else, because it's just going to confirm it, that this is bad stuff.
Bad juju.
Yeah, bad vibes.
For Ranaagash, at least, you don't really need to make any rolls. This is stuff he's seen before.
Yeah.
Obviously, the familiarity of the residual ichor is a lot more recent, obviously from his own dreams. But it does remind you of Eidolon, if not, I guess, a little bit discoloured, as this is very much almost black with some purple, but more kind of blues or green hues to it. Eidolon's is kind of more purple and black with red hues to it.
Yeah, they're maybe not the same ichor, but they're definitely on speaking terms.
They're not identical twins, but
Close enough.
You see, they see each other at family gatherings.
Yeah. First name basis.
Alright, we can move on from this
Yeah.
point.
Weird and strained metaphors.
As what would Ran do after his investigations? Where would he go? He's kind of got two options because Eidolon gave him two options. Whereas he can go obviously back to the tournament, he can go and find Wulfric, or he can go and find Eidolon.
I feel like finding Eidolon is probably the better choice here.
Cool.
Make sure he's not dead.
Make sure he's not dead.
Oh, here I go, dying again.
Here I go, dying again. Ready for pain, Craig?
Well, I'm ready to get arrested, so here we go.
Pain.
Actually,
Oh,
what
sure,
I need you to do for me just now, Matthew, is can you roll me some initiative?
Oh boy.
Like,
That's
I'm
not
fully expecting to get arrested for this.
good. This is not good. There you go.
19. That's not actually.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's not too bad, but that's actually really good in comparison to what I've rolled. As Craig,
Hello.
we will jump to you. As
Yeah, I
you
know.
are navigating, you are chasing this mysterious stranger through the streets of the old town.
Am I able to see them at least? Or nah?
That's what I was just about to ask. You can give me a survival.
If not, then I just head back.
See if you
That's
can
a 7. Probably not.
Give me 2 seconds. I need to see what his actual bonus to this is, because to be fair, you might actually be able to keep up with him if he doesn't roll very well.
That's depressing.
I just need to see what his mod is. He doesn't have much of a mod. As it's a little bit difficult for you, you almost lose him a couple of times. But you are able to catch him after a little while, breaking from the old town and into the streets of the western walls, where the crowd's very much thin. It's why you're able to keep up with him so much once you lose him through the old town, as the crowds are obviously already gathered for the tournament, and he is now within the empty streets of the western walls. Where breaking around a house, you are able to almost trap him, using more of the splitted streets of the western walls to cut him off.
Okay. Okay. Is it obvious that he's been running away from me?
No, he's just kind of almost been running away, not just from you.
Okay, so I'm assuming he's still moving in that case.
Seeing you, he will have stopped. Quite dead.
Okay. Then, not drawing a weapon, because we are still in a populated area, and I have less authority here than I did back there, I'm just going to slowly move towards him, ready for him to make sort of any action towards me.
Cool.
Just kind of almost like if he stopped to turn around and look at me, trying to get a better look at his face, since I cocked that up real bad the first time.
I think that's an understatement.
That one.
As you get closer to him, he becomes very easy to identify, though he doesn't seem to be moving. He doesn't seem to be moving away, he doesn't seem to be moving towards you. He just seems to be almost staring at you, quite emptily. As you recognise him as Elenas.
Oh, great. Okay, what the fuck is this stupid? Okay.
He is, however, very different in his appearance. His skin almost has a green tinge to it, almost as if it's rotting. Though not from the outside, almost from the outside in. As you can see, a lot of his his veins have turned black and are crawling up his body from his collar,
Okay.
and almost surrounding his eyes, turning the whites black and his irises red.
Nope, don't like that. That's not good.
Ranaagash, with your 19 on initiative,
He did roll really well.
you are able to investigate the barracks, make your way through the old town, kind of breaking away from a lot of the crowds. Seeing Eidolon dart from the tournament arena, dart from the stands, dart from the crowds, and head into the old town. You're able to head into the western wall. Sorry, you are able to keep up with him pretty quickly. So much so that when the two of them stop dead in their tracks, you can see him almost confronting this hooded figure as you're approaching from the back, so you can't see his face. However, you can hear him speak, though you have no clue what he's saying. As Eidolon this is very broken for you. I will give you the translation for it afterwards.
Okay. Oh, heckin' deep speech.
Heckin' deep speech. But for now, I will probably trip over my words a lot, but recite to you what he says. Also, don't worry, you guys watching won't have to understand what I'm saying. I'm going to put subtitles on it for you. It's a little bit for the aesthetic more than anything else. As Elenas looks at you with very, very wide eyes, almost starting to burn, you can see the reds almost ignite as he speaks, and I guess a somewhat familiaring tongue for you, Eidolon. As you just hear, Fo Kelly Gor Kamira, Goma Gotratia, Eidolon, Fo Enna, Somtia Anyav. As Eganamor looks at you, I'm assuming you look at him quite confused.
I look at him. Did you say Eidolon? Not Eidolon, that's me. Did you say Ranaagash is behind him?
Ranaagash is behind him, yes. He doesn't seem to have noticed Ran.
More just stare at him for a second, but more direct my tone towards Ranaagash. You know how I mentioned fire?
Ah.
You ready?
As the voice kind of more turns, looks at Ranaagash, you watch as it's a very familiar face now that you can see it, Ranaagash. It seems to be the gentleman, though, and a very different, very a lot more confident and slightly rotting appearance of the gentleman that Eidolon had arrested the previous day.
If he turned around, can I run up and attempt to knock him to the ground?
You can do, yeah. Give me a roll.
Cool, so it's athletics versus his athletics or acrobatics. That's not that great. I'm rolling very low today.
No. As he almost catches you, he grabs a hold of your weapon with quite a lot of force, the point that you see it cut into his hand. He doesn't shift. As he more looks at you in the eye and kind of smiles, smirks, and speaks again. Natagotra Eidolon, Milyanin na. Natagotra, Milyanin tja, Natabelli. As he more chuckles, looks at you, sees that you don't really respond to him, and smirks, where you hear a very familiar voice now speaking in the common tongue. Ah, Eidolon, perhaps this will aid you if I speak in this tongue.
Eidolon looks very perplexed, though almost looks to Ranaagash now that these two are... Since he's grasping my blade, I'd more just look behind at Ranaagash.
He's confused, probably.
More just slightly expectantly.
Ah, yes. He'd so for the fire, he'd fumble through his bag of runes and pull out the one, and I'll just go for a firebolt because it's basic and reliable.
It's basic.
And fire.
Ran is a basic bitch.
Right, okay. Plus 5, that's only an 11.
I will tell you if it hits his AC in 2 seconds, just while I grab his actual stat block.
What are your portents like for today? Oh, pretty good.
His portents are actually pretty good for today. Yeah, they're pretty good for today.
We're just not rolling high.
I don't want to waste him on a firebolt, that seems a little unnecessary.
Seems a little excessive for a fireball.
Mm-hmm.
He is there, so... that will not hit him. As it almost hits him, fizzes off of him.
That's not the intended result.
He kind of smirks and smiles. I killed you once, I can kill you again, and this time I'll take your friend with you too. Give you company, perhaps. As you watch as he outstretches a hand towards Ran.
Oh boy.
Don't think that'll hit you. Yes, that is only a 9, so I think it just misses you because your AC is 10.
Yep.
As you're able to deft and dodge out of the way, though very much unnerving, as very tendrils, very similar to Eidolon's, erupt from this man, and I need the two of you to roll me some initiative.
Right,
how's it going over there, Wulfric?
Wulfric is oblivious.
Nice.
To be fair, so is Markusar. Markusar at this point is having a relatively nice conversation with a 13-year-old wizard.
I'm gonna
Nice.
quote you in here. I'm currently living in Spain without the S.
Oh, that's very polarizing initiatives.
It really is, isn't it?
What'd you get? Oh, perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
This is what you get, Matthew, for not splitting the party balanced-wise.
This episode has everything.
I just want to get to happily Wulfric tournament arc. That's
It's
all I want to do right now.
It's okay, we are going to get to Wulfric tournament arc. I promise you that.
I'm doubting you more and more every second.
As I need this bit of paper to go along with the monster manual. And Craig, it is your go. It's currently this figure, I suppose Elenas is holding the blade.
I would turn to Ranaagash. Just start it off since he's still holding my blade, but he's currently looking at Ranaagash.
Yes.
And more just say, get out of here whilst you can and make sure no one comes near here.
Right.
As I'm just going to put my hand against the back of Elenus's head.
Mhm.
And can you make me a dex save?
Yeah, that's not great. That would be a 9 again.
9 fails, so he'll take the damage as I'm activating the arm to the astral self. I think it's just 2d4 still. Yep, for now it's just 2d4. So that's 6 force damage.
That does not look good at all.
Too bad. Oh, that's a good start. As more just as he puts his hand on the back of his skull, it's almost the tendrils start coming out of the arm. You can hear the familiar sound of like a belt buckle undoing itself. As the tendrils rip out, and almost all 3 of them come out at the same time and impale into different parts of his head. Before he'd almost take his hand, push him forward, drag them out, take them forward so that they coalesce in the front of his fist, and just try punch him. We'll see how that goes.
When all this fails, Eidolon always punches.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of how monks
this-
work.
Yeah.
17 to hit,
That will hit.
and that's 7 damage. Force, of course.
Yep. I guess the body, Elenas, he's not
that's
looking
fine.
good.
Oh,
Even you can see that as Eidolon are making these attacks, it's almost as if, like, I guess that despite the tendrils that lashed out at you, it doesn't seem like he's attacking anything other than a basic soldier, a basic guardsman. He doesn't really seem to be anything special, other than obviously the voice is changed and he has tendrils now. And he seems to know Eidolon a little bit more than the guy the other day did. As I need to make a roll. So that would be a 18 to hit you, Ran.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you probably should have made that miss.
Yeah. I don't think I can do it after the roll is made. I think depending on the mod, it maybe would have hit because I don't have mage armor.
Yeah.
What's your lowest roll? Oh yeah, good point.
His lowest roll for today is pretty decent, but when it comes to actually hitting him, it's
Yeah.
I think that's probably still gonna hit.
like he would have missed you, Craig. He wouldn't have missed Ran with that, you know.
All right, here we go.
Do it
as
then.
is D6s. So Ran, you take 7 damage,
Okay.
necrotic damage.
Okay.
However, here's the owie.
Oh no.
You also take 5 poison damage.
Alright.
However, that 5 is also reduced from your maximum hit points.
Just the 5.
Just the 5.
That's not too bad.
I'm back to where it was before we leveled up.
How cruel.
Yep, okay, my math is correct. There we go, I'm sorted. Right.
7 plus 5
Cool.
damage.
As then... Nat 20 against you, Eidolon.
Shockingly, that will hit. I think I'm about to go back to where I was before I leveled up.
As you take 6, 8, 10, 20, with your max health being reduced by 10.
Yep.
So 30 in total. is the total damage you would take. So 20 necrotic and then 10 poison, which is also taken off of your max health.
I'm on 7 hit points all of a sudden.
As he doesn't like the fact that you have tendrilled his head, so he more turns around, kind of cocking his head, snapping several of your tendrils as he does so, and you just watch as almost from his shoulder, from his neck, from exposed skin across the side of the cloak, more of this black ichor, more of these tendrils just erupt and encase you in this substance.
It's got weirdly Japanese all of a sudden.
It's called hentai, and this is that.
We hear the disembodied voice of Wulfric.
As Matthew.
Oh boy.
It's Rand's go.
So the two of them are like grappling each other almost, right?
At the moment, yeah. Eidolon and the body of Elenas, neither of them look very good at the moment.
Okay, and there's no way to like get within 5 feet of Eidolon, but not within 5 feet of the other guy.
If you're getting within 5 feet of Eidolon, you're getting within 5 feet of the other guy.
Okay. Unfortunately, then no support, or at least that kind of support.
That's fine.
So I'm just gonna do. Where's the nearest like busy place? I guess like the busiest street to here, because we're obviously like.
It would be back in the old town, back through the gates.
So we're in like an alleyway or something, right?
Yeah.
Which end of the alleyway would be the busiest, if that makes sense?
Where you came from.
Okay, then I'm gonna duck back that way, but on my way out, I'm gonna drop another firebolt. See if this one hits a little better. Because I'm gonna 17 to hit.
That'll hit.
It's I should know this by now.
D10.
It is a D10.
It goes to 2d10 next level.
It does. Right. Okay. So roll 1d10. No, I don't want to scream it. 7 fire damage.
Cool. As you watch as Ran kind of almost running towards back towards the streets, outstretches a hand and casts a fireball, igniting and almost sparking the tendrils that were reaching out and lashing onto him. The fire travels up the tendrils, slowly igniting them one by one, and though the ichor doesn't seem to ignite quite as fast, the body of Elenas almost ignites instantly, where the body writhes, but there is no screaming coming from the body, the voice inside.
Now that he's done that, is the point of infection on the body visible?
You don't see one.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So as the body burns and cinders to a crisp, you almost see, I guess, the light in his eyes, almost like a flickering flame or a dying fire, go out. As Eidolon, Ran, you'll also hear this, even despite your running, as it almost seems to echo on the wind as if it's travelling back to somewhere. You're not going to win every time. Not again. You will lose, and I will be the one to do it. I will send you into the grave and make sure you never come back.
Alright. Alright.
As the voice almost trails.
Is there anything really left? Or no? Okay, that's good.
The body basically is almost a pile of ash. There are still some remains of the corpse, but most of it is gone. It ignited a rotting corpse, almost a hollow shell.
I'd more just call to the alley since I assume Ranaagash already dipped out the end of it.
Yeah, just literally just round the corner as the body poof.
I would more just call out, hey.
You'd like, did that do
It
it?
was a bit more effective than I would have hoped for, but yeah, it did it. As if you turn back in, Eidolon would be have been dropped to a knee.
Oh, and he'd like offer you. I can't gesture because distance doesn't allow it, but he'd offer you a hand. Back up.
He'd reach out and very shakily take it. He'd see him almost as if like something was stuck to his hand. He'd just shake his left hand until the tendrils on his left arm just went away.
Mm-hmm.
So Ran,
Mm-hmm.
see the moment you touch Eidolon's hand to help him
boy.
up.
Oh boy.
Can you give me a Constitution saving throw?
Oh boy.
Oh no.
2.
Wait, Matthew.
Yes.
Don't Rand's visions happen through contact?
Mostly.
Oh, this was a mistake. Oh, this was a mistake.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh, this is a...
As you do manage to help him up, however, that doesn't excuse what now penetrates your brain.
Oh boy.
As I guess you're almost blinded quite suddenly by purple fire, where you can see a shadow standing amongst it, though the figure is very hazy, where you hear again a voice cry out in a language you are very unfamiliar with. You are unable to discern its meaning. Hisiratal min, niale, nimin gomyata. As the vision almost fades, as the shade almost reaches a hand out, almost to try and grab you, as you, with your nat 20 on your con save, are almost able to, for the first time ever, pull yourself out of one of your own visions, almost expelling yourself from it. As you help Eidolon up.
I'll wait for Matthew to finish writing.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry.
He's doing his session notes.
Yeah.
I've learned what it looks like when Matthew's taking notes on camera, so I will pause and give him the time.
It's the look of concentration.
It was something, so going through last episode, that I noticed quite a lot was whenever I caught you off guard when you were typing your notes, because you would just be typing your notes, and then I'd say something that caught you completely off guard, and you just point blank stare at me like a deer in the headlights.
Very good at that look.
Asmore just helped to his feet. Still kind of shaky, though he'd let go of your hand. Thanks.
At least I could do. Familiar face?
No. Can't say so. Well, not
Familiar.
fully anymore.
Familiar voice?
Something like that. Yes. Something like that. Anyway, thanks. That's... As you can see there, that's obviously the reason I brought you along.
What do we do with... Need gesture to whatever's left, if there's anything
Pile.
left?
There's nothing left.
No, just...
A kind of
never
rotting
mind
pile of burning body.
That's why I asked for the fire. It's
Yeah,
the only other thing that can really... As he more just make a fizzling gesture at the ground. Do it permanently.
Does it need another one?
You know what? Go ahead. Can never be too safe.
Spicy hands are back!
I am gesturing, but obviously it's off camera because it's like down.
Yeah. As you ignite the last of it and ensure that the rest of the body is turned to nothing but cinders and ash, that some kind of dance away and blow away in the wind.
I have to lament to you, though, Ranaagash. I did want to ask him questions, though it's going to be a little bit difficult now that his body is less than ashes. As more on a very weak set of legs, and, blunt head trauma, Eidolon would start limping back through the alleyway. I'm on 7 hit points.
You guys head back into the old town. You guys head back to the tournament grounds, where the parade has kind of just started, almost. You can kind of see a lot of the champions taking their place on the sands, all giving their bow to the dynast who is in their seat. Where...
Oh, fuck, cursed amulet.
Getting to the stands, where obviously the two of you join Sorrow. Markusar, you arrive to the sands with Varian. Ran looks alright. Eidolon looks a little bit worse for wear. As the two of them, or the three of you, kind of rejoin to watch Wulfric in the parade on the sands. Ran and Eidolon, you will see that Markusar is being accompanied by a 13-year-old boy who kind of more hefts himself up on a seat not too far from Sorrow.
To be completely honest, through the entire combat, I forgot that he also cursed an amulet that's going to go to the victor. I need to kind of say that to someone.
There's time.
Gonna wait.
Right. Did you say I noticed that Eidolon is looking like
Yeah.
shit?
Eidolon doesn't look great at all.
He's very weak when he was standing up probably for a short bit. You could tell he was very weak standing up, and when he sat down, he very much hefted his head into one of his hands to almost keep it upright.
I go over to Eidolon's like, "Are you okay, Eidolon? Have your dreams been troubling you again?"
Dreams? No. Fine. Physically? Yes. Troubled deeply. Blunt head trauma.
Do you require assistance? Do you want me to help in any way?
If you can, that would be, appreciated.
Okay, I put a hand on his shoulder and I'll cure wounds.
Give me your.
I'm
Give
on
me.
7 hit points out of 37.
They're scary. These things.
Oh wait, since we leveled up, it will be a +4, won't it?
Yeah, if you put your wisdom up.
I did not put my wisdom up. I thought it was thought it was your druid level. I'm an idiot.
It's
No,
plus
it's your
your
spellcasting
casting
modifier.
modifier.
So it's a D8 plus
Nice.
3.
Yo, imagine if Cure Wounds was plus your class level. My god.
The
So
same
good.
gold pointer,
6.
unfortunately.
6 hit points is good enough. I'm alive, kind of. Not really, but yeah.
I hope that went some way to helping you.
You can tell that his leg looks a little less fecked. As you can more flex it out again.
Just tell me
Markusar,
again. Come to me if you need any more help.
who did you say you were going to talk to today?
I went to go see one of the masters of magic.
Are any of them here?
I came with one of them. He sat there next to Sorrow. His name's Varian Pendragon.
I'm sick of talking people to people today, but I need to talk to him.
Why is that?
As Eidolon would just look at you, you can tell how absolutely tired he looks. The amulet.
It's
that's
just
likely going-
purely how injured you are.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
injured and he just wants a day to fucking relax at this point. As he just looks up, I need to tell him that the amulet that's probably, I don't even know, going to be given to the victor that's currently around the prize box has been cursed by some form of dark magic.
Yeah, I suppose that would that'd be something he'd want to know. Okay. Do you need a hand to get over to him? Like,
Please, I don't
Offer
think
him a
I would
hand.
Go over unannounced. As he'd take your hand and get up.
You help a limping Eidolon over to Varian and Sorrow, where I guess Sorrow looks at Eidolon with an air of confusion. Varian even more so.
Master Pendragon, this is my friend Eidolon. He wishes to speak with you.
A pleasure. He'd just be rubbing his head.
What do you wish to speak with me about?
Master of Magic, yes.
Yes, last time I checked.
Is an amulet being given to the victor of this tournament?
As always, it's a token of the dynast.
It's been cursed. Or something like that. Sorrow, the man who escaped, we found him, we tracked him down, I was going to ask him some questions. He assaulted us, did this, and he more just gestures to his injured head. We were going to ask him questions, but believe me, at that point we couldn't exactly ask him anything. But I can say for certain he's not going to be any bother anymore.
Well, at least that is something.
Yeah, you and me both wish we could have gotten more from this.
I do hate to be, I guess, a bit of a stick in the mud. As Varian kind of more shuffles forward in his chair. Do you have any evidence of the matter?
Apart from what I saw, no. And I can be frankly honest with that. I saw it happen, but if you don't believe me, then yes, I can understand where you're coming from with it.
It's not that I don't believe you. It's just I can't do anything at this point. The parade has already begun. The only way you can get your hands on that amulet now is if you win it.
Oh, for the love of Christ.
Would you like another cure wounds?
Please. Unless either you or Ranaagash can get a message to Wulfric.
Do any of you have
Matthew looks happy.
Do any of you have telepathic abilities?
Guess who got a fourth cantrip this level?
Yes! Does Ranaagash say anything on that matter?
Gentlemen, I may be uniquely skilled in this matter.
I know a guy.
Is that guy you?
It is me, yes. Let me just...
Ewan is so happy. Ewan's popping off.
I get hyped when my friends do cool shit.
The cool shit is going to be involving you. Ewan, you need to win this now. Ewan, you don't have a choice.
The thing is, like, there's like, I'd like to imagine there's like intense fucking like drama music playing behind these guys, and then Wulfric's just like peaceful Animal Crossing music. And
He's having a great time. He's bowing to the dynast. He's chatting with some champions. You know, like
Ranaagash,
he's in his element.
do you have the ability to get Wulfric a message?
Small one, yes.
How many words?
Good question. Because the description of message does not give a limit, but it's a cantrip, so I'm assuming there's a limit.
Okay,
unless I'll give it a check because I'm pretty sure it's just telepathic communication.
So it's
yeah,
telepathic.
The limit of message is range.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
it's limited. It's limited by the fact that it's usually taking up in one round or someone's
Yeah.
turn of combat, which is 6
Yeah,
seconds.
maximum.
So
But you
and-
can just continuously cast it because it's a cantrip.
yeah, you can just
Usually-
like continuously cast, but
Yeah.
it usually goes in blocks of between 6 and 10 words. That's roughly a message.
So anything you can say in a vine.
Yeah. To put it in Paul's.
Amulets be
Paul's way.
like cursed.
Ranaagash, can you just repeat after me in that case?
Let me see how long it'll take, but yes. I'm ready to count. My fingers are at the ready.
Your message, sir.
The amulet is cursed. That's the first one.
Right.
You have to win.
Just send that to him, and then another
Okay.
one.
So question one. Is Wulfric is within 120 feet, yes?
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, I can do that. I will message the man himself, the man of the hour.
iPhone notification noise. Bing.
So Wulfric, that appears in your head.
Yeah.
Does he know what the amulet is?
That's what I'm about to say.
Okay.
You see Wulfric begin to immediately scan the crowd.
Alright,
to
say
find
that
out
it's
where
you
the
first.
fuck
Say
you
that it's
guys-
you first. Say
God,
that it's
is
Ranaagash.
that you?
New brain, who dis?
What's next?
Say that it's you, Ranaagash, before we send off
Oh
another
right.
message.
Yeah.
Who is this? Ran, is that you?
It is me, Ranaagash. Next 4 words. You can reply to this, by the way.
All right. Yeah, he is replying. This is
Okay.
replying.
Yeah, you just
Alright.
you just kind of hear him in his head when you send off the first bit, going, "Who the fuck is that? Where's that coming from?"
Yeah, you bastard. Who the fuck?
You need
So
to
then-
win to get it.
Need to when to get
Get
it.
it.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's only 7. We're still good.
Okay, I'll do that.
After you've won, get us down there.
Okay,
Again, that's 7.
understood.
Just don't lose.
Okay. Wait.
He looks up into the crowd to see where you guys are.
So they're kind of standing in the stands. You kind of see Ranaagash staring at you quite intently. Eidolon looking a little bit worse for wear, almost kind of angrily screaming at him a little bit.
Wulfric does the How to Train Your Dragon 3 hiccup the.
And just for my last thing before we actually cut to the more pleasantries, I turn to Sorrow with the same deadpan serious expression on my face. Where can I place money on a victor?
Join the crowds. A lot of the peasants have already started betting.
I'd look down there, I'd look back to Sorrow, and I'd go over and take a seat instead.
How much do you want to place? I can make the bet for you.
I'm betting all my gold on this.
What, 4.5?
I'll put the 4, I'll keep the 5 silver in case
Cool.
we need to keep lodgings. Because if we don't win this, we're fucked anyway.
Are you
So I
putting?
might as well...
Are you putting
Yeah.
it on Wulfric to win?
Yes, Wulfric to win. Wulfric needs to win.
Cool. So,
That's 4 gold.
Right.
Wulfric, tournament art.
Yay!
I'm gonna
As
angrily eat this cookie.
as we'll jump to Wulfric and his tournament art, where you have just kind of finished your parade. You've had these really I guess, quite worrying and slightly cryptic messages from Ranaagash in your brain. But the first event is the joust, where you are going first against one of the outcast champions, so one of the champions who are not representing any of the guild houses. It is a female. It is a female tiefling, so one of these demon folk. She looks relatively strong. You see as she comes out for the parade, she is wielding a warhammer. Though when she comes out for the joust, her horse, I guess, is a little bit more polarising. It is more of a thoroughbred breed in comparison to a Clydesdale. So the way this is going to work, Ewan, is I will need 2 rolls from you whenever you compete in the joust, where I will need an animal handling from you against her animal handling, and then I will need either an acrobatics or an athletics from you against her athletics or acrobatics.
Okay, so the first one, this is animal handling. Straight D20, well, it's a fucking 2. Love to hear it, love to see it.
Don't you add your proficiency bonus because you're proficient in land vehicles?
You're proficient in land vehicles, Ewan.
Oh yeah.
So it's 4.
4.
Yep.
And then I do an athletics.
Yeah, it's your preferred, so I'm assuming that will be athletics over acrobatics.
Yes.
Just
25!
25! As you guys watch, as Ewan, or I say Ewan, Wulfric gets upon this horse, he's a little bit unsteady. You can see he's definitely not ridden in a very long time. He looks very shaky with the lance. It doesn't look great. However, you almost watch as he just stays solid in the seat. Doesn't move, doesn't shift, as the lance is literally coming straight towards him, and he almost skewers this tiefling off of her horse as she lands on the sands.
Markusar cheers. Woo! Oh wait, that's is the horse okay?
The horse is fine. The tiefling.
The horse is fine. Just worry about the woman who has probably just fractured several of her ribs.
The woman is looking a little bit worse for wear. As Wulfric is declared the winner of the first round of his joust.
Yes.
Several other jousts take place before Wulfric is again mounting his horse. The representative of the Master of Crafts, a human man named Bowden, goes up against the Master of Smith's representation, a dragonborn called Corinne. She knocks him clean from his horse. No surprises there. You watch as the representative of the Master Brewer, a more kind of stouter man, goes up against a very lean wood elf and is almost knocked off of his horse immediately, with Caldrim, the representative of the Master of Magic, being deemed the winner. And finally you see a young human woman, another one of these outcast representatives, go up against the older, I guess a bit more veteran member, a man called Richard Darcy, who is representing the Master of Crops, who she has a shaky start on her horse in comparison to he does, though very similar to Wulfric in her style, stays very stationary in her seat and almost knocks him clean off of his horse. We're moving into the second round of the joust. Wulfric, you are going up and now against a very almost injured Richard Darcy, the representative for the Master of Crops. So once again, I need you to make me an animal handling against his, and then I need you to make me an athletics against his. 16, a lot better. You're finding your feet on this horse.
9. That's
Not as good. So that is...
It's bad when the animal handling's better than the athletics.
Yeah. As I need you to make me 2 more, another animal handling and another athletics, as you almost collide into each other, but none of you fall off your horse. You have to make another round.
10 is not bad.
10's not bad. Again, you are able to shift footing. You're able to knock him slightly, and he even knocks you slightly. You have to almost pick up. The weight of the horse thankfully keeps you on your saddle. But for your final round, your third, I need you to make me another 2. See if you can finally knock him off before this is being declared as a draw. That's good. We're getting there. We're getting there. That's better. As the old man seems to be quite tired in this round, he seems to almost waver ever so slightly. You take it a little bit easier on him. You don't really want to injure the man, but you are able to almost bat him off of his horse. As getting into the third round of a joust, he seems very tired. As you win your second round of the joust.
Woohoo! Let's go,
Eidolon would
Wulfric.
applause for this one. He feels better now, having watched Wulfric beat the shit of an old man. So he did get a round of applause for that.
Shit out of an old man.
Again,
Future is now, old man.
Again, you watch some of the other rounds. You watch as the Dragonborn Kareen goes up against the outcast Isolde and quite quickly knocks her off of her horse. You watch as Bodin and Alarak go up against each other one-on-one. Again, similar to Wulfric, has to go through several rounds of the joust before, it is declared that Alarak is the winner. Then you watch as the Tiefling goes up against the Wood Elf Calderum, and within seconds of her charging her horse towards him, she is knocked off. Doesn't even really get past the point of the lance before he just kind of almost shunts her off of it and knocks her to the sands.
Can I, at this point, lean into Eidolon
Yes.
and tell him, just like, you know that wood elf right there?
Yes.
That's the master of magic's person.
He certainly seems apt.
Uh,
No offense to Wulfric, but he's definitely better on a horse.
Apparently the master of magic hasn't lost this tournament in years.
Do you know if this is always his representative?
I'm not entirely sure, but I just thought you should be aware that it might be close.
Well, my only saving grace there is if that's the Master of Magic's representative, hopefully he might recognize something's wrong if he wins.
I see.
If not, I can get the Master of Magic if he's willing to more just gestures at the arena.
Just thought you should know.
Thanks,
Wulfric
appreciate it.
has all of it to lose.
And so do we, Markusar.
As we get into the final round of the joust, where Wulfric, you are going up against the outcast Isolde. This seemingly very able female combatant. So again, I need an animal handling and... Ooh, that's not good. That's also not good. As Wulfric, you lose.
Shit, fuck,
You
ass,
lose your
motherfucker.
first round. You lose, and you lose in the last leg, Ewan. As you watch as Wulfric, seemingly probably quite tired from his last bout, standing on the horse, she manages to just get him in the side. He raises his lance a little too high, he loses his balance, and he falls into the sands. Though whether he's made it through to the hand-to-hand, you're not quite sure yet, as he did win 2 of his previous bouts. As the last of the...
I was about to say, if I win best 2 of 3, it don't get to the fucking hand-to-hand.
As the last few rounds of combat occur, or the last few rounds of the joust occur, where the Tiefling is able to knock the old man Richard off of his horse. Then, quite swiftly after that, the wood elf Calderum knocks Bodin off of his horse. And then, getting quite a, I guess, serious injury towards the end of it, the representative for the Master Brewer, the man Alaric, gets a lance in the side, though you watch as it pierces his mail. As he falls to the ground, as the lance snaps and half of it is still left in his torso, as several of the clerics from the church obviously rush to his aid and bring him from the sands.
Assuming that's a lot of oohs and murmurs from the crowd.
Yes, the crowd seem to be loving it, but especially Eidolon, like, this is an injury he's not coming back from.
Yeah, like, I can get that the crowd thinks this is exciting and all that, but it's visible on his face that Eidolon's a little disgusted that this is what's seen as entertainment to some
It's
of
like
these people.
NASCAR.
Yeah, it's like NASCAR. I still remember the first time I jousted in D&D and I intentionally murdered someone but
Yeah,
played it
you-
off as an accident
You
because it
did,
was a
you
joust.
intentionally murdered a man.
Dragonborn.
Dragonborn,
Right.
they're the same thing. As we come to the end of the joust, As you stand in the parade, obviously Alric is not there, neither is Richard, the two of them clearly very injured from these events. Wulfric, you stand in the stands with the rest of the champions, and the winners going into the hand-to-hand are announced. The first to be announced is the Dragonborn Kareen Noxoris. Next is the representative for the Master of Magic, the Wood Elf Calrim Lyodon. Then, the representative for the Master of Arms, Wulfric Reinbrandt. And then finally, the Outcast, Isolde Adamos. Where you all have a small break, mostly to gather your strength, gather your breath, and prepare for the hand-to-hand. Whereas we ourselves will take a little IRL break.
Come on, Ewan, this is what you're good at.
While this break is happening, the Weekend's gonna do his halftime show.
Do we have the funds to book that out?
Not yet. Maybe later.
We can re-upload this episode with that when we have the
Well,
funds.
for now, you just get Paul making a really, really bad impression of the Weekend.
Has anyone actually seen the halftime show where he just grabs the camera and he's like waving it all in his face? It's so
It was
funny.
fucking wild.
He's cracked out his nut. He's so off his nut in that moment.
Alright, let's break. I need to.
As we will break and see you for the hand-to-hand in just a little bit.
So,
Breaks
like,
my
yeah.
knuckles doing that so much.
As we've just started now. But no, it's good because it makes you excited. As we do come back to Wulfric starting the full-on hand-to-hand of the tournament arc.
Well, before that, did you say we could go
Yes,
down and speak with
you
him?
do have a little bit of time. You have a little bit of an intermission, shall we say, where you can go down and speak to the champions or speak with the champions.
I know what I'm going to say before I head down, because I need to say something to Varian. Do I have the ability to?
Yes.
If he's going down, is he going down to speak with his champion, or is he
He-
staying here?
He is, yes. You also see Sorrow is obviously going to speak to Wulfric as well.
If we're leaving, I will speak to Varian on the way down, if he allows me to.
Yeah. He's got no reason not to.
We have informed our friend, Wulfric, of the, I guess, problem we're facing, but if you could perhaps inform your champion if he's more magically inclined, as he is, simply seems the most likely to win this also.
He kind of smirks and kind of laughs. I will inform Caldrum, yes. It would be best if at least we're playing on the same side for now.
My deepest gratitudes. I couldn't ask for anything more right now.
If something is wrong in the city, then it's our job to make sure that it's made right, celebrations or not.
Thank you. Again, I'm not used to saying thank you, but I've been saying it a lot today.
You're from the wall, yes?
That was rather quick of you.
I read a lot.
From a master of magic at only the age of, as he'd more just gesture to him, as in like, how old are you?
13.
Baby.
I would certainly imagine you'd have to.
Very
No,
nice baby.
Excuse my lack of surprise. We're much the same up there in terms of physical aptitude in comparison to mental aptitude.
Put it this way, people are, I guess, less so surprised as they are, I guess, somewhat disappointed. Most expect me to be an
No.
old man.
I had no expectations going in, so I have nothing to be disappointed by. My apologies for the strange way I was introduced to you.
I've had stranger, believe it or not.
Oh, I can definitely believe it. And I don't suppose you actually met Ranaagash, as I'd like gesture hand backwards to the orc walking behind us.
The kind of small child gives you a nod, quite a deep bow. No, but it is a pleasure to meet you, Ranaagash. As
Okay. Go on.
he will ask you or speak to you in Orcish. It's
Oh,
It's strange
see.
that I have seen someone of the Forest of Mire in the Citadel. Most orcs here are, I guess, a little broken in their culture.
We get out occasionally.
As he kind of chuckles at that. But more gestures, again, to the three of you and to Sorrow. But if you'll excuse me, gentlemen, I do have to speak to my own champion.
Just make sure he knows, if I could press that once more.
He kind of gives you a nod. I will. As I said, it's better to be playing on the same side today. Celebrations or not.
I don't exactly know what's going on, but it's nothing good.
As he kind
As I
of...
turn around and walk with Sora.
And he heads...
My bad, sorry.
As he heads off and leaves you to head into Wulfric's tent, where Sorrow is very, I guess, forefront, taking in pleasantries and excitement before, obviously, I guess the soured news comes in, gesturing big, sweeping arms, smiling. Well done, Wulfric, that was quite a show. Though got your ass handed to you by a girl. Didn't really expect that from a dragon.
She's got quite the swing on her. I really don't think her being a girl has anything to do with it.
From what
Beat
I
him
gathered,
down that sexism.
from what I
Wulfric
gathered, I
drinks
think
respectful juice.
her brother also asked to be in the tournament, but I don't think he was much for show.
He's putting the lance back and he picks up his axe and he spins it in his hand. Yeah, are you gonna explain? You looked at Ran and Idol.
My apologies, it was pressing and I didn't know if I'd have this time to explain or ask anything of you. Yeah, the amulet that I think, as I turn to Sorrow, you get as a prize.
Yes, it's a gift from the Dynast.
It's been cursed. Do you remember Tenon?
Of course.
What happened to the mayor there?
Oh, you're shitting me.
Something of that ilk has he more just like press his hands together, infused into the amulet. I can't guess what it'll do, but my only presumption is whoever puts that on will be... I don't exactly want to see that happen to you, Wulfric.
Can we not go 24 hours just without something fucking weird happening to us?
As I put a hand on Wulfric's shoulder. Wulfric, I experienced blunt head trauma about an hour ago. Maybe a little more than that. Time is difficult right now. I'm sorry, you should be let to enjoy this, but please, once it's all over, call us down and make sure no one puts on that amulet.
Guess that just means I have to win now.
Is he give you a very steady, like, yeah, you do. Luckily, the other foreseeable victor, the Master of Magic's representative, is also being made aware. So if it's you versus the Wood Elf in the last round, you really can just enjoy yourself there.
Right, yeah. Doesn't expect me to go easy on them, though.
No, just don't. Hit first, hit hard.
Right.
Again, I've been saying this a lot today, but I'm sorry. You should be allowed to. I don't know. As he'd more just hopelessly turn around.
As you return to the stands.
On the way back, I would like to say something to Ranaagash. I've been speaking a lot today. This has been really strange. It's just because M decides to be like, hey, funny backstory, go seep. Though this is actually unrelated. I'm more just exiting out the tent. I just turned to Ranaagash. You know that, I don't want to say boy, it almost seems insulting. The Master of Magic might be able to explain something about your... You see more just gesture in his head. Like...
Well, if anyone can, I'd suspect it might be him.
More just something to think about before we leave. Might be the best chance you'll ever get.
Mm-hmm.
As yeah, I'd head back to the stalls.
As you all take your seats to watch the first round of combat, where Wulfric, you get a small break. You get to sit in your tent, or I suppose for Wulfric, he'll probably stand at the side of the sands to watch the hand-to-hand, see who actually wins and see who he's going up against.
Do we get a short rest?
You guys you will have the effects of a short rest, yes.
Give me
Just-
health back!
Just for the effects of Craig getting some health back.
Yeah.
Do my max hit points go back, or are they stuck at 27?
No, they're stuck at 27.
Will I get a short rest between rounds? Just
You
out of
will, yeah.
curiosity.
So like you'll have this one, and then you'll have like a little break, and then you'll have your next one. So you'll be able to get like your if you use action surge, or if you use your like second wind, you'll be able to get those back and stuff.
And my dice, I get my superiority
And your
dice.
superiority die back as well.
boy.
As the first round of combat occurs, where the Dragonborn, the representative for the Master Smith, Kareen, steps into the sands with the outcast Isolde, where you watch as the very hefty Dragonborn wields a great sword, very big, almost executioner style sword, and Isolde wields nothing but a rapier. She is very lightly armoured, the Dragonborn a lot more so now that she's in her more traditional garb and not on horseback. One is definitely a warrior, the other is, I guess, more of a duelist in their stance. You watch that Isolde is a lot faster than Kareen, and she also doesn't hit harder but hits more precise. As after several quick slashes, several quick blows, the Dragonborn is brought to a knee in the sand, and the outcast is declared the winner. Where Kareen is taken from the sands, obviously to be tended by the clerics, Isolde returns to her tent, and the sands are raked for Wulfric's combat.
I need to ask Rand what happened in the cell. So much to do today.
Where Wulfric, you are called out to the sands. The announcer declares you as the representative of the champion, the Master of Arms, Wulfric Reinbrandt. Your
Cheers.
opponent, the representative and champion of the Master of Magic, Caldron Lyodon. As standing before you, now I guess out of leathers and more in plain linens, with his hair tied back in a small braid, is a wood elf, bearing no weapon.
No weapon? Not even like a wand?
As he more steps onto the stands, and I need you to roll me initiative, Ewan.
Wulfric's about to get his shit rocked.
13.
13's good.
13. As you are the first to act, you are the first to attempt to take a hit.
Let's fucking go. Alright, I run straight for him. Does an 11 hit?
Nope. As he stands. his
bonus
arm-
action, fainting attack, can I make it advantage?
Yes, go for it.
Big brain.
Big brain plays.
16.
Nope. As
Fucking what now?
you watch as his arms are behind his back, he just comes, you run at him, you charge at him with your axe, you take a swing, and he just sidesteps out of the way.
Oh no.
Oh, I dislike this man already.
You're
cocky
fucked. You're absolutely
bastard.
fucked.
Cocky bastard.
I would lead into Markusar, since Markusar told me about the Master of Magic champion, to say, he's fucked.
As
Oh.
a 14 doesn't hit you, yeah, Ewan?
Nope.
As you watch, as he steps to the side, he almost spins on a heel. He outstretches a hand towards you. You can almost see wisps of cold come from his palm under his sleeve, and you just step back. You're just like, nope, I'm out.
Nope.
You manage to shift out of the way of
My turn.
his attack, and it is now your turn. Yes.
Let me stop you.
Fuck. I
He
can't,
got
I
in that
can't,
one.
can't hit shit in this house.
Oh,
I'm
you were gonna give
shit
it.
in
You
the-
were gonna give him a portent, weren't you, Matthew? But you
But
rolled
he
too
already
quickly.
rolled.
Oh well.
Ewan's too excited. Is you not one?
No, let him win organically, Matthew.
Let him win
Okay.
organically.
Fine.
Or you know, Porton would be cool too.
Ran
This is my whole thing. This is what I'm here for. This is my job. This is my purpose.
Then do it.
He can, unless you
Oh,
and
I know.
unless you and Axon Churches.
Listen.
No, end my turn there.
Cool. We'll see if he hits you. Oh,
Oh.
Matthew, you have a portent, don't you?
I've
You
already.
said you're not
Does he want to
naturally.
use? Do you want to use them, Matthew?
You know what? You know what? I'll be generous. I'll use the 8. I'll be nice. I'll save the 18 for.
As the 8 is gone, and that will not hit you, Ewan. As again, he attempts to go, outstretching a hand, and almost you watch as the magic seems to just fizzle and disappear.
Right.
As it is now your attempt to hit him.
I'm gonna try and hit him.
Come on.
16.
Misses.
That mad misses, doesn't it? What? Why is his AC so fucking high?
He might
He's
just have
he's just a sorcerer.
He might have casted like mage armor, but also might actually have good decks, unlike our wizard.
Pussy bitch.
I'm sorry, Matthew. That sounded offensive.
You're not wrong.
End my turn there.
I'm so offended by something I 100% agree with.
This is actually kind of sad, Ewan.
As a 16 will hit you, yes, Ewan?
Yes.
As you take 4 necrotic damage.
Okay.
As the two of you are having this dance, almost missing one another, getting to the point where it's quite comical as you're dancing around the sands trying to swing at him. He just gets your underside and you almost feel his cold touch just creep up your spine and shiver.
Right, I'm gonna hit him.
Well, you can try.
25.
That will hit him, yes.
Strength saving throw.
I was so expecting him to cast shield.
That is a 9.
Yeah, he's now prone.
Fuck him up.
Let me roll some damage.
Does he lose because he's been knocked off the ground?
Depending on what you roll here, you will win this because you've also knocked him prone.
10.
And then
let me
your
roll
die as well.
16.
You like your 6s.
As you bring your axe down, you manage to knock him off guard, you manage to get him to stumble, his fanciful footwork no longer working as he falls to the sand, to the uproarious cheers of the crowd.
Yes!
You are declared the winner of your bout of combat against Calderon.
Let's go!
No, you see, this is perfect because I took trip attack.
Yes!
I just
This
need
is your
to trip
element.
attack them.
This is definitely your element. Though that's worrying. Means the person you're going up against the next round doesn't know what's going on, which means Ewan has to win the next round.
It means I have to win the next one.
There is no choice. That was interesting though, he didn't use a weapon, he was just allowed to cast magic.
Oh, yes.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be fair. The guilds are the 6, so it wouldn't be fair if they asked us a wizard to put forth a martial person when it's supposed to be representative of their house.
Oh.
He
So
obviously,
what was the representative of the farmers gonna do? Till wheat at them?
he used a war pick. He was gonna just sickle you essentially to death.
Chad.
That's a big gamer move.
Power move.
There's nothing saying that you have to use conventional weaponry. He could have walked out with a scythe or like a farming hoe, if that's what he was more proficient in.
I was gonna say what type of farming hoe are we talking about, but
Very fair. Anyway.
As Ewan, you have the opportunity for yourself to have, I guess, a short rest whilst they kind of rake the sands, till the sands, and sort everything.
As I walk off, I'll second wind. Just before my short rest, I'll second wind to get my health back.
oh, you get all your dice back too. Nice.
And then short rest, get all my dice back. Action surge if I use it. Second wind if I use it. I don't even have to roll for the health I get back for because he only dealt 4 damage to me, and the minimum I can get from my second wind is 5.
Yeah. Pardon me.
Alright, this is the danger zone. We have now entered the danger zone.
We've now entered the danger zone.
I don't
What's your
know.
other portent, Matthew?
Hmm?
What's your other portent?
18.
18. So it's a bit more of a fanciful portent, which you could use on Wulfric.
That was the plan.
Or you could use it on the person he's fighting against.
That was not the plan.
It's not part of the plan. As stepping into the ring, you are going up against Isolde. This very lightly dressed woman, very light armor, wielding her rapier. She kind of walks into the sands before combat even starts, as you both kind of more bow towards each other, giving each other more of a respectful gesture. I hope I didn't injure you too much in the joust.
Nah, you got a good shot though. Not really smart. So that's really good of you.
I'll see if I can get lucky again then.
Right.
As I need you to roll me some initiative, Ewan. See who hits
She's
first.
high dex. She's high dex, isn't she?
I feel stressed for Ewan.
Yeah, this could be worrying about if I roll high enough.
If she goes first and she can hit you hard, you might just be knocked down.
15.
She goes first, but just.
Yeah, I was probably.
Reason being, she has a dex mod.
Yeah.
You both rolled 15.
Some days it hurts to be so fucking swole.
As I am assuming a 24 will hit you.
Yes, Jesus Christ.
I'm grimacing. I'm actually grimacing.
Yes.
I love the sound of dice. So,
She's not, is she?
ruling wise, when you drop to either 1 hit point or obviously 0, Ewan, let me know, because obviously then you've lost. Quote
Okay.
unquote.
I don't like her
Okay.
telling you that now.
I
when
don't
you're
like
at
the
full
sound
hit
of that.
points.
I don't like what that means.
It's just because I'm looking at dice. As that is 18 damage.
In one attack? She's a rogue. She's a rogue. That's
Yeah, she's
it,
a rogue.
She's a rogue.
Maybe would she be an assassin rogue since she goes before you?
Swashbuckler. She'll be a swashbuckler. It'll be the 1v1 thing that swashbucklers can do.
As she very quickly, very deftly moves across the sands. She very precisely goes for the folds in your mail.
Right.
Doesn't go for the links. She sees that you're a lot more armoured than she is. She goes right for your weak points and gets you in the ribs.
No
Alright.
matter what you do, Ewan, she can just half the damage too.
Bonus action. I get 9 hit points back.
He's healing. I'm actually scared. This is scary.
Okay.
Would you like a big hit in return?
Yes, please.
Using your other important roll.
Strength saving throw, please.
Oh boy.
I think that's probably a fail and a 10.
Yeah, she's prone.
Let's go!
Let's.
And then
Let's
once again,
go.
depending on how much damage you do on this one, you could actually win this in 1 hit.
And then. Oh yeah, but I get
reroll
to.
that.
I can reroll 1s and 2s. That's a 5 instead. That's 13.
Nope, she is
Action surge.
There you go. I was waiting for
This
the
is your rodeo.
The second one is with advantage.
I was waiting for the
Thing.
action surge.
Yes!
Natural 20.
Let's go!
Woo!
Oh yeah.
Go, damage,
Fuck.
damage.
I've never been so excited watching a combat. Oh, she's
Yo.
fucked.
26.
You sure you haven't killed her?
She is, well, dropped in this, obviously, because he's not attempting to actually kill her. She's dropped to the point where she concedes she cannot fight anymore.
Basically, can I just
Go for it.
describe? I basically my takedown is I hit her, I whack her with the butt of the axe in the ankle. I catch her in the armored like the edge, and I just ragdoll her across the sands.
That's a little brutal, isn't it?
I mean, Wulfric does enjoy golf.
Did you even add the superiority dice's damage onto that?
I didn't use a superiority dice for the action surge. It's just because she was prone.
Yeah.
Ah.
So
makes
it's the
sense.
aestheticizing of how he basically hit her prone, because obviously he would have had the 2 attacks, which I quite like. But yeah, she kind of gets up. You can kind of see her clutching more of her breast, clutching her chest as you have very deftly winded her. But she does give you a smile, and she gives you quite a deep bow. Obviously the crowds are uproarious. They are cheering for you. They are very happy with this outcome. It's been a very entertaining sport. A little bit shorter than a bout they would have liked. You can hear a few of them boos for them wanting for it to continue longer.
Are you not entertained?
He did it!
He did the line!
You said the line.
Everybody applauses. This is non-optional.
As
I love
the
Gladiator.
Isolde leaves the sands, and everyone cheers your name. Sorrow looks very, very chuffed with himself, as this is the first time in a long time that he's won this, or one of his champions has won this. And I suppose the four of you will be able to watch as the Dynast rises from her seat. This very kind of elegant, very, I suppose, beautiful woman, for all extents and purposes, rises from her seat along with one of her servants. The servant carries the chest, you can see the amulet resting upon it, where she breaks from the stands, she breaks from her private box, and steps onto the tournament stands, walking out to Wulfric. Where Wulfric, you are greeted by quite a short lady in the grand scheme of things in comparison to your own height. Where she kind of smiles at you. The crowd seem to almost dull. They silence themselves as she stands beside you, stands before you.
I make eye contact with Varian the second this is happening.
I take a deep bow.
You've done well.
Thank you.
I congratulate you, from both myself and from your representative, as well as everyone in the Citadel. And as custom, you are gifted with this. And she more gestures to the chest.
Thank you very much.
As you kind of watch as she more turns to it and lifts the amulet off you to obviously hand it to you. More expecting you more to kneel so she can put it on you.
I get very anxious with this kind of stuff. Do you mind if I put it on later?
She kind of looks at you a little bit confused. You kind of see a lot of the crowd are more shifting in confusion.
Say you have like a bad neck crash or something.
Something like that.
I kind of lean in, and it's like there's worries that it's been tampered with.
As you watch as she gestures or more looks towards Varian and Sorrow in particular. Sorrow looks with a bit of concern, and you see Varian just kind of nod at her. Very kind of focused. You kind of almost see her freeze for a moment as she lowers her hands and hands you it by the chain so that the amulet is still hanging. The crowd do seem to boo and kind of hiss. They don't really they almost direct it towards you as if you've refused her gift, you've refused her offer. Though you kind of see her more kind of give a nod towards Sorrow, to which case for the three of you, you'll see Sorrow get up and leave the stands, where you'll see him kind of off-center talking to some of his men, where his men start to begin almost dispersing some of the crowds, where Varian stands up second, looks at the three of you. If you want, you can join me.
I would stand up, yeah.
I would join. Yeah.
Also, despite the fact there's booing and hissing, I would still be applauding Wulfric's victory. Go on.
As Varian heads onto the sands and towards the Dynast and Wulfric.
Yep, I would join him in that case. Stopping the applause the second I get onto the stands, of course, because that would be weird.
Mm-hmm. As you head over to the Dynast, where Wulfric is holding the amulet. You can kind of see it almost, Eidolon, with your past perception, it almost starts to vibrate in his hands. Though, Wulfric, you can't see or feel this.
Am I within talking distance of Wulfric?
You are at this point, yes.
This is going to seem really rude, but completely ignoring the Dynast, I would direct all my attention towards Wulfric, just saying, whatever it's trying to do, it's starting.
I throw off my mantle onto the ground, and then I chuck the pendant onto it.
I'd give a curt
No
nod.
respect, Dynast, Your Majesty, but we don't know what that thing's gonna do.
I'd turn to Varian and just gesture down it, we need to take a look now.
He kind of gives you a nod, and the two of you kind of go over. You hear, despite Sorrow and his men obviously trying to disperse a lot of the crowds, a lot of them are sticking around, almost, I guess, curious at what's going on, as this is a very untraditional end to a very traditional festival.
Yeah, it is. But it's because we got involved.
As Varian, Eidolon, you head over to the pendant. You head over to the amulet.
Yeah, I'm going to lean down and, specifically with my left hand, pick it up. More to inspect it. More just gesturing for Varian, just stay away from it.
He will keep his
observe
distance.
from a distance.
He will keep his distance, but he will keep a little eye on it. You kind of watch as it still continues to almost vibrate in your hands, doesn't really seem to react to you, though it feels very hot when you hold it. It's almost as if, I guess, it's erupting from the front, but it's almost trying to erupt from the back and can't.
Yeah.
The rest of you will watch on, or look on at this, as only a few moments into Eidolon and Varian expecting this amulet, a shower, almost like a geyser, starts to erupt from the centre of the amulet, of black ooze and black ichor, that begins to form into a creature. Though it seems almost to have no form. It seems absent of form as this venom is given life.
I am grabbing the Diast and I'm pulling her away.
As I need the 3 of you to roll me initiative.
4 of us.
Oh, 4 of you. Why do I keep saying the 3 of you?
Can I say
about me?
Can I say something to the group just as it's starting?
Yep.
Potentially. I would say to Wulfric, Wulfric, just a note, you have had the best idea there possible. As I gesture towards Wulfric, I'm sorry, but in this instance, your weapons won't work. Get her away from here.
Right.
As I turn to Ranaagash and just say, fire, and I turn to Markusar and in a more questioning tone, fire.
I have some things I could use.
Yes, I need this.
Really? This is just how this is supposed to go. Really?
Gonna turn to the Master of Magic and I'm gonna be like, this is the weirdest request possible. But you don't happen to have a flaming sword, do you?
Yes! Yo, that would be awesome.
2 seconds, he might be able to do
No,
something.
imagine if you could, like, ignite your axe head on fire. Like, almost like clink it and then it just erupts into flames.
And then I need 1, 2, 3, and then I also... So that's not great in the grand scheme of things, guys. You should be better at this. So 3.
I've got pretty good initiative.
No, not
17.
for you. I'm talking about Sorrow and Varian.
Little bitch boys. I have minus 10 max hit points for this. Oh no.
Oh yeah, you're still poisoned, right?
Not poison, my maximum hit points is just cut by 10. It's really not great.
That will have...
I can't believe I won though.
Yo, that was awesome. That was
To be
actually
fair,
awesome.
when I rolled her initial damage, I got scared. Because I was like,
If she did that again, Ewan was fucked.
that's a lot. But no, it was the fact that it was then... no, action surge. Bitch is going down.
Oh no, you don't have your action surge for this though.
Yeah, but it was I saw M's like reaction when I said action surge.
To be fair, I was waiting for you to just action surge it.
And you got a nat 20 as well. Hogs.
Poetic.
This doesn't have anything to light the blade. I need to check something though. Because... does that turn it into a magic weapon?
That would be helpful.
How do you spell Ichor, by the way?
ICHOR.
Yeah, it's a really weird one. I always spell it with a
I always
U.
think there's a Q in it.
So that's fine.
Four.
So he has that instead.
It's probably Craig. It's probably because it sounds like liquor, which
Yeah.
does have a Q.
I spelled
No,
it like
that
Ichor.
nailed it. Oh, yeah.
As top of initiative in this whole thing is Eidolon.
Last things I forgot to mention in my first tirade, gesturing to everybody in the area, whatever you do, do not get hit by it. As more just casting aside any sense of, well, what people would think in that situation, just reaching forward, taking out a buckle, putting his hand directly forward, and letting the tendrils shoot out and attempt to stab into the creature, so it needs to make a dex save. Ah, there goes my key point.
Nat 20.
So I almost like to imagine that, like, the parts where the tendrils would go through, it almost like opens up the bits so that it misses. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
As instead it would just be retract them back through, almost like essentially whipping back forth, and he'd take his hand, run up towards it, almost disregarding the advice he gave to everybody else, jump up and just attempt to square it in the face. Well, black there on the face. 16?
That will hit it.
Not much damage, but it's damage that will actually do stuff, which is good. 5 damage by force.
Cool.
So that's my turn for now. That's it activated. Means I can start doing stuff.
As Paul. Nope, I lied. It's this thing's go. Sorry, Paul. You're next.
It's okay. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do.
As I need everyone to make me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh no.
Boy.
Oh,
Oh, no.
dear. My con went up though, so let's see.
So did mine, but I still got an 8.
18.
They're good, thankfully.
20.
Well, Matthew, it looks like we're a little fecked.
Yeah, you guys are a little fecked.
Straight. Does this count as a projectile?
No.
Damn it.
That's the monk meme at this point, is just asking if things that aren't classed as projectiles are classed as projectiles.
As you take 9 poison damage.
That's fine.
But you watch as this thing almost screams very gutturally, almost erupting like a plume of black smoke. You watch as several of the guards, several of the crowd members, are instantly killed by it.
Oh.
Meep, meep, ah.
As Paul, it is your go.
Okay.
There we go.
What would be within a 20-foot square of this thing?
Eidolon.
Okay. Could I cast Entangle, but position it behind? Can I position it in a way that it only targets whatever this thing is? Okay, I'd like to cast Entangle.
A strength save.
That is a strength save.
24.
Can you try?
Not.
Yeah, that's a. Yeah.
As you try to entangle it and you watch as the vines try to wrap around something, but can't because there's literally nothing there for it to wrap around. It's almost like a more semi-corporeal ooze.
Markusar is gonna think like, well, I don't really have much else to help you here, Eidolon.
Nah, it's no bother. It's completely fine. It's not fine, but it is fine.
As you watch as Sorrowmore turns to Varian and just kind of runs from the crowds, arm in hands. If you can, it would be a good time to use it now. As you kind of watch Varian just kind of almost protestantly turn around and go, you know how dangerous that is, Dangerous! As Sora almost grits through his teeth staring at the thing. And you kind of almost watch as Varian awkwardly scratches his head. And then you watch as he more takes a breath, seems to be very unshaken for a moment, and you watch as his eyes turn white. Though you're not too quite sure what has occurred.
The fuck he casting?
As Ewan, it is your go. You currently have, I guess, the Dynast in your protection.
I lead her towards an exit.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a sconce nearby? Like with a mounted torch in it?
There would be, yes. Just kind of like almost idling.
Can I take the torch and can I fling it at the thing?
Ooh, I like that. Gives me a throw. It is a dex though.
Did the Dynast have to make the con save?
Yeah, she did.
So
She thankfully
is
passed.
that just a straight D20 roll?
Because it would count as an improvised weapon.
14.
That hits. Improvised torch. Give me a D6. Just a flat D6.
Fire's
5.
good though.
Fire be good though.
Thank
Would
you
you
for
have
the
set-
big brain thought, Ewan.
Would
That
it
was
set the
my
vines and
immediate
vines
thought.
would it set the vines of Entangle on fire as well?
Do the vines of Entangle remain once the spell has been cast?
It's concentration, so we could just...
Concentration up to a minute. The vines, they do stay there.
We're just not doing anything anymore.
They've created. It's on difficult ground.
Yeah, so the ground will, or at least start to kindle, start to ignite.
Yes.
So that
Teamwork.
is a good idea. So we'll keep an eye on that. Though Eidolon, that obviously means that for you, moving around this thing could get a little bit difficult.
I don't need to move around it, I just need to stay in its face.
As Matthew, it is Ranagash's go.
Gonna do what I was told to do and fire it.
Make a kill stick.
You can do other things.
I don't have much else.
As Ranagash, before you roll your fireball, you almost feel something have slight sway over you. Almost as if someone else has seen that you will hit. And just roll me damage.
Okay, that's very dramatic for just a single D10.
Ah, it's still a D10.
Yeah, okay, 9. Pretty good.
Is you almost feel that someone else or something else is having sway over this battle, turning it in your favour. As it is Sorrow's go. He can't really do much, so he's going to try and help.
I mean, his sword's not going to do anything.
He's going to try, though.
It won't do anything.
I mean, one of them's certainly going to do something.
We're just stood in like a sand pit, fighting like a monster from Epic Mickey.
That's really.
I need a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
dice.
That's very
That's such a
That's-
deep
that's
cut
one-
reference.
That one wouldn't
though.
hit. That one's going to hit, though. So I need a
Understood
nat
that.
20, 14. So we'll do the nat.
Shout out to anyone who remembers that.
I do.
I do.
I remember that.
15, 17, add 6 is 20.
I don't think I'm the right age to remember that, but I still remember
Not.
that.
23 is 32. And then nat 20 time. That's pish. 11, 16, 17. 17 doubled is 34,
34.
which puts it at 66. As you watch as Sora takes 2 hefts, you watch as he does cleave into it quite deftly, Eidolon.
It's not going to do
Um,
anything permanent to it, though.
But again, you watch as some of it does damage, but nothing permanent. It starts to almost stitch and regrow almost immediately.
I have words for him the second we're done.
I have words! Strong words!
I have words on my turn, actually.
Yes. That won't hit. Those will hit though. Craig, words. 17. Just.
Like, yeah, just.
And then Markusar a 13.
Oh, that is just
Just.
literally my AC.
Wait, what's your dex mode?
0.
0.
So when he took Dragon Hide, so Markusar, when he leveled up, he took Dragon Hide at his feet, which gives him a little bonus to AC, but he doesn't have any dex, so it just means his AC goes from a 10 to a 13.
It was
Whatever
11.
it's doing a projectile.
Which is pretty good, but it's not. Actually, this does count as a projectile. Because it is classed as a ranged weapon attack, this counts as a projectile.
Then, yeah, I'll be using my reaction to try and lower some damage here.
Cool. You take 2 damage.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, firstly, reaction. I'll be lowering that by... Is it plus my... What is it? It's plus dex plus monk level.
Monk level.
Which
So-
means that it automatically negates it and you can fling it back.
So 13, it's... What is it doing so I can describe it?
As you watch as some of the black mist settles, several of the bodies have risen, and several of them lash out at you with tendrils.
Do I have to throw it back at what it does, or can I throw it at something else? No, it just says I can make a ranged weapon attack. So essentially, catching the bit of black ooze from the tendril, it's more just like reaching forward, yank back, so that it's essentially like, you know, making the impact a little less brunt. And essentially just looking down it, then looking at the creature, it's more just taking it from the side and just backhand throwing it at the creature instead. Which does cost a key point to do. And I make a ranged weapon attack with it. I make this attack with proficiency, regardless of my proficiencies. It's 5. 14?
That will hit.
Yes.
Yeah. How much damage does this tendril do?
It does
Is that how much
1d6.
ideal, I think.
Nope,
1d6,
I lied
just
to you.
1d6?
It does 3d6.
Plus anything? No, it'd be plus my dex.
Plus your dex.
What would it be?
Well, it's plus. Would it be plus
I
anything?
can treat it as my dex though, because it counts as a monk weapon.
It's your
for the
weapon.
purpose of this
So,
attack.
yeah. So it'd be plus your dex. So it'd be 3d6 plus.
14 to hit and 14 damage.
Let's
And then
go.
just catching it, looking down it, clenching into the fist, and then just backhand tossing it into the creature's lack of face.
As additionally, Markusar, you take a single point of damage.
Great. I'm happy with that. I'll take that any day of the week.
I'm not done yet.
Oh.
That
Why'd you get my hopes up like that?
That single point of damage reduces your max health by 1.
Oh, darn.
But alongside that single point of damage, you also take 5 damage.
Oh, okay. So I'm at 32 now. Okay.
As, oof, spicy damage.
But at least Eidolon got an attack in. That was pretty dope.
That was pretty dope. I liked that.
As
Yeah.
Craig, you see several
so-
more of the infected, I guess, bodies that have been lying around are slowly beginning to creak and almost crawl back to life.
Also, two things. One of them's going to be talking to Sorrow, but first thing. A lot of people have been hitting this thing, which means it's been getting essentially warped out a bit. Have I seen any crystalline point inside of it?
Other than the amulet, no.
Does it look like the amulet would count in this instance?
Yes.
Fuck.
As everything seems to be
That's not
coming
great.
from the amulet.
Cool.
It's like a fucking Horcrux.
I turn to Sorrow and more just as respectfully, but as with some anger as possible, since it's clear that he is able to damage it in a way. I'd more just gesture my voice towards him, saying, "If you kill it, it will rise again. Deal with them," and more just casting my hand back to the crowds of bodies rising.
He kind of more gives you a look, gives you a nod, sees the crowds, and just, yes.
As I'd more just get to the ground, like essentially like I punch this thing, land on the ground, chuck something at it. I'd more look at the amulet. Does it look like it would try to stop me if I went for the amulet?
Quite possibly.
Does it look like if we keep wailing on it, it will have the same effect?
You're unsure.
If I was to attempt to take care of the amulet, would everybody else around us be at risk right now? Like, would Ranaagash and Markusar be at risk, or are they far enough away?
You don't know because you don't know the extent of this thing's abilities. As this is very unfamiliar because it doesn't have a host. This is essentially absent of body.
I gathered. Would it be an action to attempt to deal with this?
As in try to get to the amulet?
Well, if I can get to the amulet with my movement, then trying to disembowel it would be the best way to put it.
Yes, but it would obviously get in a chance to essentially try and stop you from doing that.
Thinking, fucking thinking.
Pardon me.
Fuck. I don't actually currently have the things that I would need to have to do that ready, because I didn't expect to have to do this today, so I don't have that document ready. Do you?
Which one?
The one for actually dealing with the, essentially the quick and easy way.
The quick and easy way. The quick and easy way. Give me 2 seconds. I will find the quick and easy document.
Because if it tries to stop me, I'll just be making 3 attacks against it instead, but if I can get up to it, then I will attempt this, if possible. Plausible.
So it is a medicine check that you would need to make if you got to it.
Do I have proficiency in that for this, or is it just my medicine?
You are, for these checks and specifically, you have proficiency in them.
Fantastic. I'm going to try get to it.
Cool.
And if it tries to stop me, and succeeds, I'm just going to be making 3 attacks instead.
Cool. What to do is give me, actually, I will give it disadvantage, almost as if you take in dodge. I don't think that's going to help you though. Is that's a non-nat 20.
Nope. Cool, yeah, that hits. I'm assuming I'm knocked to the side.
Yeah, as you do try to clamber, you do try to reach and get it, though it is able to knock you back, knock you off. You take 8 damage,
Fuck me.
and you also take 6 damage, which your max health is then reduced by the same amount.
I'm on 4 hit points.
Oh shit. And what's your max HP?
23. Essentially being knocked to the side, almost like I sort of imagine essentially not like a backflip but back roll as it's been knocked to the ground, more just steadies himself in the ground before looking back up at the thing and instead just looking down at his fist and running up and just essentially to cleave through most of it, spending a key point for Flurry of Blows. More just trying his best at this point, considering I can't get to the amulet. More or less relying on Ranaagash and maybe Markusar and Wulfric to just continue setting it ablaze. And hoping that the actual current blaze does it. So I'm just going to roll 3d20 if that's okay.
Swell.
Yeah.
20. So it's plus 5, so that's a 15, a 21.
2 out of the 3 will hit.
I'll just roll it as cumulative damage. 2d4 plus 6. D. As that's 12 damage. It isn't too bad, all things considered. This is more just disregarding his safety at this point, just to try and knock this thing about a little bit.
Also, because the tinder or the entangle is on fire, surely it'll take fire damage at the start of its turns.
It is going
Fingers
to.
crossed. Yes.
As we get to the start of its turn, and it's going to get a little toasty. Oh, it's got a 1.
Oh.
It took a damage.
Every little helps.
To be fair, yeah.
Every little does help. We don't know how much help it's on right now.
It took a little bit of damage. As Eidolon, you kind of watch as the thing is very angry. You can almost see it try and lash out, specifically at Sorrow, and then over towards Ranaagash and Markusar. Several tendrils almost latching out, trying to grab a hold of them. You even see that it tries to expel some of this poisonous ichor in an attempt to almost consume them. You watch as each of the tendrils seem to go astray, go awry. They batter into the stonework instead. You are almost 100% certain that these hits should have hit, especially one as you watch as it heads towards Markusar, almost attempting to pierce him, and then all of a sudden Markusar, you watch as it kind of takes a right angle at the last moment and just drives into the stonework.
I cock my head back and just say, Ranaagash, are you doing that?
Hands up, that wasn't me.
He's very chill in the moment. Nah, it wasn't me, bro.
As Paul, it is your go.
I guess I don't really have much I can do at this moment, except I see that Eidolon is like, he's taking lots of hits, like he's taking the brunt of all this damage. So I guess I'd extend a hand out to him and cast Healing Word at second level, so that's 2d4 plus 3. It's not the best. 6 HP.
It's hit points. I'm back at 10 hit points.
It's hit points, which is nice.
Healing Word's a bonus action, right?
Yeah. So you can still have your action.
So you still have an action.
Okay. So can I cast Poison Spray at the mass?
Markusar's doing his Markusar thing.
I can't remember if Poison Spray was an action or a bonus action.
Poison Spray is action.
So I can cast that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. D20.
So it's a Constitution save, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a concept. Yeah, I'm an idiot.
It makes the save.
I need to reach and grab something because it slid out of my reach as I go off screen and check something. I'm back.
Like she wasn't even gone.
That kind of hurt.
I always forget if a spell, like, my instinct is just always, I always need to roll d20 for everything I'm doing. It's like, actually, no, they have to roll the d20.
Yeah,
it's nice sometimes.
Yeah, but the best cantrip requires a spell attack roll.
That being? Oh no, he's gonna say it.
Eldritch Blast.
He said it. He said it.
As the con save for it, Paul, is a 12.
Oh, that fails.
Yes.
So that is a d12 damage. 10. As you'll probably, like, in one hand, like, facing towards Eidolon, I'm casting my Healing Word, and in my other hand, facing the beast, I am, damage and healing at the same time. I'm a man with many talents.
It is poison damage, yeah?
Yes.
As Eidolon, you'll be able to see this. Markusar, not so much. As the poison spray goes into the mass, you almost start to see it reforming and healing some of its cuts, some of the severs.
That sounds about right.
Wait, what? Okay. Did I just heal it by accident?
Maybe. You don't know.
What the fuck? Okay, noted.
Matthew's facial expression is everything I'm feeling right now.
End my turn.
End my life. Em looks very contemplative.
I'm checking a stat block.
We are so fucked. We are so fucked.
As you kind of watch as taking a breath and almost taking a knee, Varian kind of falls to the floor. His eyes return to their more normal colour. You almost see blood kind of drip from his nose, as with quite a pained expression on his face, he more looks towards Eidolon and kind of calls out, "Fire, yes!"
Yeah.
As he outstretches a hand towards the creature, outstretches a hand towards the mass, and you watch his wisps of flame travel down his arm, picking up bits of stone as it does so, and he summons a elemental.
Oh,
He summons
Well,
a
that's
fire
handy.
elemental.
Hog.
that's very handy.
Is the
Could
elemental?
have done that sooner.
He was busy.
Oh boy, I get to quote Paul again during this session because he just said "pog" again. I get to do it for this session too.
Let's go.
As the first attack won't hit, but the second one will.
Things are heating up in the arena.
Ooh.
You suck.
7,
Bad Wulfric.
Maybe I should play a bard next time, huh?
14.
No, oh, please.
Don't encourage him.
As you watch as the elemental begins to ignite the creature, begins to almost wailing on it as Varian keeps it under his control. As Ewan, is your go.
Is there another torch?
If you go for a bit of a run, yeah, there is another sconce.
So
So
would I
just
be able
move
to
towards
get,
it. Yeah.
move towards it, and then
Yeet!
11.
That misses.
No.
As it goes a
How's
little
the
bit
dynasty
astray.
looking right now?
Wulfric makes so many dad jokes, he might as well be a father at this point.
Yeah.
Unless there's something Sophia hasn't told him, and he's just
Oh.
psychically aware of it.
She seems okay. She is
Instincts
obviously a
neutral.
little bit shook, but she is okay. Several of Sorrow's men have more cornered her to make sure that she is protected. As Matthew, it is Rand's go.
Right, just before I do my thing, how is Sorrow actually looking? Because he's went off to do the corp.
In terms of the dealing with the corpses, he looks alright. He looks.
Okay.
I mean, they're not. I guess they're not really dying is the only thing. He's more keeping them at bay, keeping them away from you guys. He's
Yeah.
not really disposing of them, so to speak. Though, from what Eidolon's told you, that seems to be pretty difficult.
Yeah, just starting to make sure, you know. Orcs looking out for orcs and all that.
Solidarity in the orc bloodline.
Yeah, something, that thing about loyalty, I don't know.
Something.
I'm gonna do my fire thing because that's what I'm told is good. That's a dirty 20.
That will hit.
Nice.
D10. Hey, max damage.
Max damage.
How is this thing looking after that?
Not great, considering that Eidolon, you must almost kind of slide away from it as you're almost kind of, I suppose, punching into it. You're almost a part of the amalgamate at this point, as it almost starts to retreat into the amulet, giving you, I suppose, on your next chance, a attempt to strike it.
Oh, I like that.
As several of the blighted creatures and Sorrow stay in combat, none of them seem to hit you guys, and he managed to keep several of them more preoccupied. Though you watch as some of them, I guess some of the ones who were turned and rose to begin with, start to die on their own, almost collapsing and falling and turning to piles of ickered ash. As Eidolon.
Cool. If it's starting to retreat and doesn't look like it would essentially go against, I don't want to say my advances because that sounds really weird, but I would attempt to approach the amulet in that case if it doesn't look like it's going to be hostile towards me.
Well, it's hostile towards you, but it's not gonna. It doesn't look like it can do anything.
I more imagine like walking forward, like weakly tries to flail, and he more just like slides under it before arriving next to the amulet, before reaching with his left hand, taking his dagger off of his chest, and just attempting to stab into it.
Give me a stab.
Medicine. It's 5. 11. Right, but 10.
As everyone bar Ewan, give me a Constitution saving throw. As you do manage to break into it, you do see the amulet crack, you see it break, you see it shatter. It's just the relief on Matthew's face. As it breaks, it ruptures, you can see the creature gargle, it spitters, almost explodes and erupts. However, some of you are caught in its caustic wave. As Markusar is very...
This is gonna knock me down.
That's alright. As I'm only using this amount. So that would be 14 damage.
I'm down.
Me?
To you, Paul, and to you, Eidolon.
I am down.
As the creature seems to erupt into nothingness. And shortly with it, the mass of blighted creatures, the mass of dead creatures, are dead. They fall to the ground, they disintegrate. However, with them, so does Eidolon.
Falls fucking unconscious.
As he falls unconscious.
Markusar will immediately run over to Eidolon and use Cure Wounds on him.
Yeah.
Give me a roll.
So much.
First level, so just a single D8. 10.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
That's way more than I needed. Thank you.
Yeah, just immediately revive him. Like, oh my god, Eidolon!
As everything
Seymour
kind of
just shake
clears,
himself down.
as everything clears and the combat comes to an end, Varian, or Sorrow, kind of helps Varian to his feet. You kind of see Varian shake him off, more annoyed than anything else, as he dispels his elemental. And very little of the crowd remains. Everyone has either ran from fear or been dispersed by the guards.
Or died.
Or died. As there are quite a lot of bodies, both of travellers, of locals, and of guards, now strewn across the stands and sands.
Wulfric rejoins the group. Maybe with the Dias.
You kind of see the group of guards that were protecting her slowly kind of lead her over as she more kind of, I guess, directs herself towards Sorrow and Varian, though you then kind of almost see her roll her eyes, directs herself to the four of you and just kind of looks at the, I guess, more Eidolon than anything else. Would you care to explain?
Okay, there we go. I'd more dust myself off, even slightly disapprovingly look towards the Dynast before taking a deep breath, exhaling. No, because there isn't one. There is no explanation for this. The only explanation that we can give is that we were the only ones who were able to stop whatever that thing was from rampaging through this town. This could have gone so much worse.
Then what can you explain?
What I can explain is that earlier today, someone broke into the cells, broke someone out, as I'd more look towards Ranaagash. More for a sense of, like, does that sound right?
Good question.
I sent you to investigate.
Yeah.
Next question.
What happened?
Whoever they were after their escape, well, I say whoever they were, I know who it was, but they weren't them anymore. They broke out, they made their way onto the stage, they infected the amulet, and then they attempted to flee. They failed. They still succeeded in cursing the amulet, but there was nothing I could do but watch and make sure that, and I point to Wulfric, the winner could do something about it.
Your Majesty, respectfully, this is a similar thing happened in Tenon, where a man was corrupted by this strange influence. I'm unaware of its origin point, but we seem to be very adept at stopping it.
I would also turn to the Dynast if you're done, Wulfric.
Yeah.
I trust you already know what it was, though.
I don't believe that is something that I should speak about at this point.
No, it's the affirmation that the people who need to know things know them. I'll take silence as a yes.
If the four of you would perhaps be so kind as to join me for a meal. I believe we have something that needs discussed.
I'd look to mainly Ranaagash and Wulfric.
That sounds reasonable. When they go over and pick up the chest.
Yeah, sure.
As you kind of watch as the dynast turns to both Varian and Sorrow, the two of you will accompany as well. Feel there is much to discuss, and I will ensure Lucius is there too. He will be most interested in this. As she more kind of turns heel and begins to walk with several of the guard back towards, you see the old tavern in the background, as Sorrow and Varian kind of come over to the four of you. Sorrow kind of, I guess, trying to help Varian, though Varian is very adamant against it, before Sorrow kind of just turns to the four of you. Invitation from the dynast, though better circumstances would have been approved, I imagine.
Yes.
Come, it's not a wise idea to keep her waiting.
So you don't happen to have any weapons that can deal any flaming damage, do you? These things seem particularly weak to fire.
I think we can perhaps handle this after whatever this dinner is.
Yeah, after dinner. We'll discuss it after.
I'd probably advise checking with one of the smiths, though, when you have the time. They usually are pretty adept at these kind of things. As Varian kind of turns, as are some of my scholars. It is in some of their wheelhouses to make enchanted weapons.
Right. I'll speak to them.
Eidolon would start walking the direction that the dynast went.
As the six of you kind of walk to the dynast house, do you have any particular conversation on the way there, or talk to anyone in particular?
No, personally, I'm rather silent.
Markusar wants to ask, whether it's answered or not, is this black ichor that follows us, is this something that is just happening everywhere, or is it just happening because we're here?
Something tells me that whatever the dynast is going to say might be related to that.
Sorrow always kind of looks over his shoulder and laughs at the four of you. Well, if that's the case, you've got mighty rotten luck.
That we do.
As you head into the tavern, you head into the dynast house, and Sorrow and Varian, you kind of follow them more than anything else as they lead you through the corridors towards a more regal looking part of the building, reserved for the dynast herself, where she is already sat in, I suppose, quite a modest drawing room, all things considered, where it's more, rather than an actual meal, it's more of an afternoon tea that is being served by several of the servants. You can see her sitting there. She is still quite shaken from what happened in town, but she holds quite a regal appearance. You can even see that in the light of the sconces around the room, her golden hair almost seems like a halo, kind of shimmering and shining. And coming through the doors to our other side, almost being, I guess, led in by several servants, looks very reluctant by the expression on his face, is a very aged man. Almost looks like his skin is tattered parchment at this point. There's not much left in the ways of muscle or fat on his bones or body, as he kind of more, with some prowess, steps into the room. As Varian and Sorrow take a seat, and the dynast kind of nods for the four of you to take one too.
I take a seat.
Yeah.
I take a seat.
Yep.
Yeah.
As she kind of nods, gestures to the old man, who is continuing to stand, though you can kind of see him pacing to keep himself just moving. He seems quite fidgety. This is Lucius, and I imagine you are already acquainted with Sorrow and Varian. And no more of the Your Majesty. Call me Valeria. But might I know who I'm speaking with?
Father
Wulfric
Markusar.
Nice.
I love Discord. No one can tell who's going to talk first.
I am Wulfric Reinbrand of the Iron Dragons.
I'm Father Markusar Wild.
You can go for it.
I'm intentionally staying silent
Okay.
Oh,
for now.
Oh, sassy.
Smirk just. Ranaagash the bastard.
You see she kind of smirks back. And yourself?
Eidolon. As he'd more, stare at her for a second before just staring back down, or just keeping his gaze affixed elsewhere.
She kind of looks, you kind of see her look back to her advisor, and then you also see her look at Sorrow. Kind of raises an eyebrow. Eidolon de Dallas, perhaps?
Apt, yes. Why?
No reason. I received a letter a little while ago about you.
A little while ago, referring to a month or a year.
A month. I
A
guess
letter I'll need to send in that case.
it was more a warning for myself to a rather brash soldier asking questions.
Questions have been asked, and the questions have been answered. And the reason I'm here has been dealt with, though not in the way I wished for it to be. I would ask after whatever this is to entail that I have a more private conversation with you, Miss Valeria.
And no miss either, just Valeria.
Then if I could, a more private conversation for a more private topic.
She kind of gives you a nod. I won't dawdle, I'll get to the matter at hand. We have been researching into instances like this, or at least historical instances like this, as none at present have really occurred, at least not regularly or enough to be able to track them. They seem very random. It's my advisor here. He has dedicated his life to the study of this, to the research of this, as a way to protect us and our people from whatever this is. I have a request of the four of you, as you seem, and to your own admission, adept at dealing with things like this.
It's an unfortunate talent that each of us seem to have borne from these experiences.
That's one way of putting it.
What I would ask of the four of you is that you accompany Lucius. I
Where
have
to?
asked Sorrow, on occasion, if he would spare some of his own men, but fearful of what he might find, he doesn't want to lose them. I cannot blame him. Lucius believes he has discovered a location, a precursor location, where we can perhaps get some more answers into what this is. I would ask that you take him there.
Where might there be?
She more kind of looks over at the old man, who you can see just genuinely quite fidgety, kind of turns to look at the four of you, more kind of rubbing his hands. You can even see him playing with several of his fingers, almost popping them out of place. Just anything to almost keep his mind off of the matter at hand, or at least a little bit distracted. It is not too far from the hills of Summerhost, or at least it's in those holds. It is years before we arrived on these plains, before we settled here. It was, I guess, the area around Summerhost was riddled with tombs and relics, a lot from the Underdark, but some not so. I believe through a lot of study I have perhaps found another... You watch Eidolon, you kind of notice it. Markusar, Wulfric, you kind of catch on, but you're not quite sure. As Eidolon, you watch as this man almost deadlocks you in the eyes. He becomes slightly more fidgety. Precursor location, perhaps. I wish to be able to study it.
Summerhouse, this is south.
It's our hold, our main city near the Forest of Hilden.
That didn't answer my question. That's south.
Correct, it is to the south.
Thank you, Markusar.
The Dynas kind of takes a breath. I understand if this inconveniences you.
My journey leads me to Summerhost. This does not inconvenience me.
If it means we get this thing sorted, I'm willing to take a couple of detours.
Aye, this seems worth it.
We'll need some equipment though.
With that, I perhaps... She kind of chuckles. You must understand, I cannot command my subjects. I cannot command my guild masters to give you. I cannot give.
Naturally.
They still have to make a living to some extent, and I respect them for that. They do a lot for me, but I can at least give you my favour. Ishimor turns to Varian and Sorrow. They kind of nod and shrug. She kind of smiles. It means that you can get something from them at least. It'll be small, but it should help.
How... We've just been travelling for the past few days. Would you be able to assist us in our travel? Like, maybe see us passage to Summerhost?
If you're
A car,
travelling...
horses.
If you're travelling with Lucius, you will have not only his carriage, but I will ensure that the four of you also receive your own mounts. It should make the journey half the time, and at least for yourselves and for himself, it will make the journey a bit more comfortable.
I don't mean to look to be pernickety, but would it be possible if my horse was the one that I used in the tournament?
Aww.
Sorrow kind of
Cute.
laughs.
Wulfric is wholesome.
Kind of more like nudges Varian. You hear the kind of small boy cough. Well,
I've got Variance 13.
you did make it joyous for me to finally be able to kick his arse. So I suppose I can give you my stallion.
Well, that'd be.
Oh,
your
it's his horse.
Oh.
Oh shit!
I'll try not to kill this one.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
It seems only fair. I've been waiting to kick Varian's arse for 3 years. Who knew I needed a dragon to do it?
We can be quite formidable.
At the very least, we've already been through Tenon and Hillview, so passing through there, hopefully there won't be any new issues.
Do they have a name? What your horse's name?
I call him Gelid.
It's a fine name for a fine horse.
I would be careful around mares.
Oh, I imagine so.
Oh.
He
If
can
we're
get
making-
feisty.
If we're all making requests, something just occurred to me that might be worth noting since we're heading that road again. In our last town, Hillview, Commander Tellman at the watchtower.
You
I
watch as Sorrow's face almost drops.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't like this man already, does he?
What has the
We
idiot
dealt-
done now?
He enlisted us to help with a local matter, but he, in our experience, was quite unforgiving
Useless?
with his men. Useless, that's one way to put it. He's not butchered, sacrificed his men needlessly. I remember trying to pull him up for it. Obviously, I have no standing with him, but if we're heading that road, perhaps we can discuss it on the way.
I will send him letter of correspondence and get him to come back. I thought he would cause little trouble there. Apparently not. If I'm being honest, I hoped that he'd be under Frederick's advisor. The Master of Arms, the Captain of Tenon. He's a close friend, but he took a young woman under his wing as his second, and it meant that I had nowhere to put him. So, Gairdre, Tellman, he ended up in Hillview. I hoped that he was so far out of the way that he was just watching over a farming village, he couldn't cause any trouble. That, and
Well-
I know the scouts there are more than able.
I don't necessarily know what punishment or reprimanding you will give him, but he certainly deserves one.
I won't bore you
Didn't
with
you-
those details.
Didn't you get along with one of the Elven scouts, Paul?
Yes, I got along with the leader of the scouts, who's called Nadras.
Oh, you could ask for him to be put in charge.
Good question. The leader of the scouts, an elf called Nadras, he seemed to be quite a capable leader.
Perhaps. We work closely with the scouts, though none usually take our employ.
Perhaps he could function as an interim commander.
I shall send for him too. It will definitely be interesting to hear two sides of the same coin, though I know which one I'll believe first. Let's put it that way. As the Dynas kind of smiles. Well, if there's nothing else, gentlemen, Daedalus, I imagine we can speak more privately. But
I have some things to share, yes.
I shall leave you. You are welcome to, and she kind of gestures at the food. Take a rest, take a break.
I'll take the vegan platter.
As Captain, as she gets up and more gestures for you to follow.
I would, yes.
She heads out of the room with her advisor, with this old man Lucius, and leaves with Eidolon. Where Eidolon, you are led through, I guess, several more corridors just to make sure that the conversation is perhaps out with earshot, and more into, I guess, more of a study, though this time the roles are reversed, as Lucius sits behind a desk and she actually plonks herself on top of the desk.
She's very confident. Is there a seat to take?
Yeah, there is.
Alright, I'd more stand next to the seat, more just leaning onto it, since he's still quite injured, rather than sitting down.
Yep.
I trust he should be here, but I will ask one more time. Are you sure Miss Kragan would be very happy about another listener?
I will be frank with you. When, I guess, news finally reached us of what occurred, Lucius was already studying matters pertaining to it. And, well, he'd already taken a step back from his roles at the Master of Magic. He was a very expert young boy, so we had no trouble. We had no problem leaving him in charge. Lucius took it upon himself to study more into the matter and research more into it. I did it without her approval or knowledge, yes.
You do realize in that case I will have to inform her of this.
I'm aware of that, yes. But at the same time, I have to look out for the protection of my people. I trust your men. I trust the Bulwark. She is a very respectable woman after all. I have no doubt in her abilities. But you must understand my concern when I heard the news. I have to start taking matters into my own hands for my own people.
Then I suppose that's where I can at least lend you some help. I am not permitted to speak of this, but I will do so anyway, considering what you're asking of us, as long as I can be sure that what is said will not leave this room.
Not between the three of us. No one else knows of Lucius's research apart from myself.
What is happening is very likely related to what you're asking us to go research.
I assumed so. And she kind of gestures towards Lucius. I did too. It's, I guess, a sensitive topic when you're trying to discuss something that you cannot discuss with people.
And it would do good to keep it vague. You cannot be ever sure that nobody is listening.
But no, what I am asking you to, I guess, assist me with is pertaining to it, yes.
There is one thing that I would need to know of sightings of. Even if it didn't appear to be related, I would trust you to know anything over anything else.
She kind of gives you a nod for you to continue.
Most notable, height. A man or monster at this point. Standing well over 9 foot. Has there been any sightings of a person like that?
Not a person, but a shadow. Sorrow's come to me with quite a few reports. He's never been able to find traces of it, though.
Not likely, no. Not likely. I can't make assumptions, but if there's been sightings, then it's likely they might have been in the Citadel today. They might be the reason for what happened.
Then I guess my only question is why?
Do you want the honest answer or speculation?
If they are not one and the same, then honest.
Because he can. That is all.
You seem to know this matter quite well. As she kind of more straightens up on the desk.
I'll ask another question then. But not for myself this time. I am aware that there's a rather large beast in the Gildenfeld. A rather dangerous one too. On behalf of someone who I'm quickly being able to trust, I need to know where it is and where it's gone.
I do not know. But ask Sorrow.
I'll make it a point to.
Tell him I sent you.
What was that?
crying in the club right now.
He'll tell you a little bit more if he knows that I permitted it.
Thank you. That's all I could ask for. But yes, to answer your past question, this is an issue that I know very well. I most likely even know why it's happening, and I know where it is likely to go.
And yet I imagine you will not tell me.
No, I certainly can. Whatever this problem is, it will be following us. That, however, is a form of speculation, as that is assuming that this shadow has already seen us.
Then I am sorry, but I pray that it has. I can't have another incident like today.
And there should be no purpose for one to happen again.
And she kind of gives you a nod. Allowing, I suppose, unless you've got anything else to say?
No, I'd give her a nod. More of appreciation.
As you're kind of more left to rejoin the group for sandwiches and tea. And that is where we will leave our session for tonight.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
I betted on Wulfric. Do I get any money or not? I didn't want to interrupt any serious RP with that.
So I'm gonna give you some lowdown on kind of going into next session. So Wulfric, you get your prize money, you get your prize chest, which contains 50 gold pieces.
Yo!
Yo, you're gonna share that with the party, right?
Yes.
I mean, he doesn't
I'm
need
kidding,
to.
of
It's
course.
his prize money.
I'm a druid. I don't use money.
Ewan doesn't want to share it. Ewan doesn't share it. He won this. He earned this.
That's going towards a stipend for a nice cottage in the country for him and Sophia.
Oh, cute.
Craig,
Retirement fund.
you get 24 pieces back. That's obviously already including the 4 that you bet upon him.
Nice.
What were Ewan's odds then? I can't do the math.
Ewan was very
Not very high.
Not very high. If 50 was the prize money and I earned 20 by betting for him, a lot of people betted against him.
You're 5 to
Yeah.
1 to win.
The odds of Wulfric winning weren't that high in terms of his rankings with the other competitors. And then you, just kind of for the 4 of you thinking, going into next session, you guys obviously have the map of the Citadel. You can kind of see a few of the locations and kind of what those locations entail. Just kind of think about what and where you kind of want to go to possibly ask for favours. So these are small things. These aren't things like, I want mithril armour, because you ain't going to get that. It's more like, can I get a better weapon, or can I get, like, I know Ewan just wanted plate mail. He just wanted plate.
Ewan just wants plate. Ewan
It's
just wants
like-
plate.
Like going to one of the forges, going to one of the smiths and just being like, hey, can I get some better plate? It's small things like that. Yeah, Craig.
Does a first level enchantment on something count
Yeah.
as small?
So I'll probably first, maybe second level spells, if you wanted something enchanted, can be enchanted that way. Or obviously
Already got an idea.
cantrips.
Got an idea.
And then obviously, like, if there's anything you guys actually want to do next session, just kind of think about that as well.
I'm assuming you're keeping all that 50 gold for yourself, Ewan.
A good chunk of it, yeah.
Obviously, you can also spend some of your newfound fortunes as well. But that's all for next time, as we had quite a full session today, a full bit of, and we also had Ewan's tournament arc, which he did win, which was quite nice.
Yeah.
I need to take Ewan to Sorrow now, because now he can have a chat about working something out.
But I hope you all enjoyed, my boys and everyone watching included. And we will see you all next time.
See you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.